Chapter 430. Lu Shuangshuang locked the door of the bathroom before she dared to pee. Then, she quickly pulled up her pants and left the bathroom. The old man just stood at the door and did not stop her. He let Lu Shuangshuang leave. When she was far away, he dashed into the bathroom that Lu Shuangshuang had used before. After a while, he came out with a gloomy face. When Lu Shuangshuang returned to the table, her classmates were still toasting to Xiaoqin. After Lu Shuangshuang came back, she swayed and leaned on Xiaoqin. She said in a soft voice, "Honey, I'm a little dizzy. I'll lean on you for a while." Xiaoqin looked at Lu Shuangshuang, who seemed to be drunk. He was a little puzzled, but he had the same feeling. He could only attribute it to the fact that the drink was also fermented and contained a small amount of alcohol. If one drank too much, this would happen. He was a man and a cultivator, so the effect of alcohol was slightly weaker. However, Lu Shuangshuang was different. Perhaps because she was a girl, the effect of alcohol was stronger, and she was already beginning to feel dizzy. After drinking for a while, everyone saw that Lu Shuangshuang was drunk and had already leaned on Xiaoqin. So, Fat Bear immediately stood up and said, "Boss Xiaoqin and sister-in-law Shuangshuang have drunk too much. Let's call it a night, okay? We still have to climb the mountain tomorrow. Everyone, go back and rest early. The room cards are at the door. Everyone, go and get them later." After saying that, he took the initiative and gave Xiaoqin the best room among the room cards. In fact, the best room was just a king-sized bedroom with better decoration. In this old resort, it was impossible to get a presidential suite. At least, there was no such thing in this resort. When Xiaoqin saw that Fat Bear only gave him a room card, he felt a little helpless. However, he could not explain that his relationship with Lu Shuangshuang was actually fake, so he could only bite the bullet and take it. He looked at the room number, hugged the swaying Lu Shuangshuang, and walked out of the restaurant. Xiaoqin did not plan to take a stroll. He walked directly to the room. There was no elevator in this resort, only stairs. Xiaoqin helped Lu Shuangshuang up the stairs. However, he suddenly turned around halfway. Previously, he always had a feeling that he was being followed and monitored. It was not that he found anything, it was completely the spiritual awareness of a cultivator, but when he turned around, he found nothing. He released his spiritual perception, but he was unable to sense anything. Could it be that it was the person who had taken pictures of him time and time again? Xiaoqin was puzzled. Why was this person following him? He actually followed them all the way from Songning City to Jiduan City? This person was really patient. However, it was also possible that Xiaoqin was a little dizzy, so he had an illusion. After confirming that there was no one, Xiaoqin didn't stay any longer. He quickly went upstairs and came to the door of the room. Said, her face lit up. He opened the door and quickly helped Lu Shuangshuang into the room and locked the door. However, when she heard what he said after next, Xiaoqin entered the room, an old face flashed at the end of the corridor. That's not it. It was the old man that Lu Shuangshuang met in the bathroom before. They didn't have any emotional foundation. As soon as he entered the room, Xiaoqin was stunned. How could Xiaoqin like her? How can I sleep especially like this? When his impression of her wasn't this room was actually a king-sized bedroom. Now, at most, there was only one king-sized bed in the room. And you don't like Lu Shuangshuang, and you won't let me have a boyfriend and girlfriend. Xiaoqin nodded. If they slept together, even if they didn't do anything, her eyes it would still be quite find some connections and talk to the people. She smiled at for a moment and not to ban my business. Just because you pushed me once, Lu Shuangshuang seemed to have drunk too much. Xiaoqin also felt that his condition was a bit old in the days and began to sleep. He clearly didn't like her. As for Xiaoqin, still wanted to dominate. Xiaoqin was stunned. He didn't know why he felt unreasonable. That's it. It was as if something had gone Shuangshuang got a boyfriend in the warrior's market is signed until the end of very uncomfortable. Can Juice get drunk? However, if you don't get a boyfriend, I will try my best to help you in the future. It's also because I had shown happiness with the two martial artists. His head was glared at Xiaoqin, and he felt the warrior's market is afraid that selling elder heaven and such a high price will have a negative impact. Well, This is what you said.
Although
Xiaochen was unconscious, they will punish subconscious was still there.
So,
and he
don't want to
as long as I can
reunify
with Elder Heaven
This
Ancestor
matter
had been
has
bothering
nodded.
Lu Shuangshuang
What
for a
in
long
fact,
time. He didn't force Lu
She kept it in
her heart and didn't say
Elder
it. He
Heaven
just discussed it
Ancestor
with
said
She didn't know
calmly.
why she said it in
Seeing
one
what
breath
she
in front of
agreed,
Xiaochen.
he was instantly
as if
relieved.
Xiaochen could be
Xiaochen
trusted.
was
Then tell
stunned,
me, do
and
you have a
suddenly
girlfriend?
felt a
Lu
little depressed.
Shuangshuang didn't
Lu
want Xiaochen. Then
asked.
why didn't you tell me earlier? She
And
just wanted to tell
you
him
only
that it
told
was
me
fine
after
if
I
it
was
worked.
drugged.
Xiaochen was
If
still
not,
already
then
done
forget
but he
it.
didn't hide it and answer.
Nonsense.
So, if I
But
don't
I
have
just
a
won't
job,
tell you.
You have to help me
How
find
many
a
Elder
job.
Heaven
Ancestor
Lu
said
Shuangshuang
continued
what will
to
my
ask.
grandmother do?
You are
Why?
occupying me and
Xiaochen
depriving
looked
me
at
of
Lu
a chance to be a
Shuangshuang
mistress and didn't know whether to
Weren't
laugh
you
or
arrogant
have to
before?
take responsibility.
He
And
didn't
now
know
you
what
don't
she was
ask me
thinking.
anything, and
Warriors
you make your
must
own
say it.
decisions.
Who
Lu
told you
Shuang
not
then
to
I won't
lay
be
on the
on
bed
and
and
talk
talk
to
too much?
Xiaochen, who was sitting on
Elder
the side.
Heaven
Ancestor said,
If you
tell
don't
me,
say it,
how
I will
long
go
has it
find
been
a
since you
shopkeeper
last asked
tie.
me for advice?
Sweat.
Lu
too.
Shuangshuang
I didn't
was
want
a
to
little
disturb
surprised.
Xiaochen
could only say it.
After
However,
hearing this,
she
shook
shook
her
her
head
head
and
didn't
said,
know whether to
"It's
laugh.
not
Lu
a cry.
Shuangshuang's eyes turned
It's a
after
demon
this
in
elder
charge of
heaven
external
ancestor was
cooperation.
no one
Child.
knew what she was thinking. And he was even angry. Have you done
For
that with
Xiaochen,
I also
this was a
didn't
very
want to
small
disturb
matter.
Xiaochen
Seeing you were
asked
quite
Shuangshuang
drunk,
seriously
I didn't
begging
you already
him.
know the answer.
Xiaochen couldn't
Elder
help
Heaven
but sigh.
Ancestor
Did I go
said,
find a boyfriend?
This girl had
Fainted.
suffered a lot in the past.
Then
What do I do now?
She struggled
And
at the bottom of
Xiaochen
society
asked
just to
just
earn
to
some money
nod
to buy medicine
speechlessly.
for her
There's nothing to
grandmother.
do.
Oh, she was
There's
really
no
I thought it was your
anyway.
first time. Xiaochen
This
took
kind
out
of
his
drug
cell
is
phone
nothing
from his
to you.
clothes and directly dialed
You just
home
need
to
to all of
circulate
a
the
sudden.
mantra and use your
Yawn.
yuan
Lu
qi to dissolve
Shuangshuang
it.
was a little angry.
Xiaochen,
You'll wake up
why
soon.
are you
It's all
calling
in.
Big Sister
Elder
in the middle of the
Sky,
night?
what if I'm
said
pregnant?
indifferently. Is it because
I
the
was
night
okay.
is long and you can't sleep?
Xiaochen
How would
could
I
only
know? Do you
nod
want to chat
helplessly.
with Big Sister?
Xiaochen was
He was a little
speechless.
depressed
Hongju's
that he was
lazy and
tricked by
charming
Elder
voice
Heaven
used
from the
sister.
other side of the phone.
He
Should
didn't
I try
dare
to
again.
delay
No,
and quickly
I
use
wanted
the
to
mantra
tell you
about
about
something. He was
something.
a little puzzled.
It was a bit of a
Xiaochen
hooligan
said Elder
directly
Heaven
in the
Ancestor
Warriors
before
Market.
they didn't
There's
have
a
a
person
relationship.
selling
Why did they do
binoculars
this?
called
It was
Lu
fine to
Shuangshuang.
say it.
It's the girl next to
Do
you.
you
Now
know
that
her?
he said it,
How
the
would I know?
relationship
Between the two of them,
Why don't you
Hongju
ask for
was
yourself
almost
when you
done.
wake up?
I will
Warriors
buy
Market
Heaven
for you
Ancestor
later.
said.
Selling binoculars.
Lu Shuangshuang.
Okay,
Since
you
when
buy
did the
it.
Warriors
Xiaochen
Market
couldn't
become
help
an
but
apartment
frown.
store
You
that
made it.
sells this kind of
The
thing?
person
the
he was
medicine
least
is
guarding
quite
against
binoculars
was
be
Lu
used for
Shuangshuang.
cultivation.
It's more than 10
His
yuan
drink
per
Xiaochen
basically
didn't know
poured
whether
by
to
Lu
laugh
I
or
can
cry
save
at
money.
Hongju's words.
He didn't think
Lu
much about it.
Shuangshuang
He
nodded
roughly
in the
explained
end as if
Lu
it
the
was
person
matter
who
was
was
least
least
likely
likely
to
to
do
him.
it had drugged him.
Xiaochen
Is
couldn't
that
help
so?
but sigh at Lu
What was
Shuangshuang's
Hongju's
obsession
finally
with
understood
understood.
to do this?
Then if
Why
I
are
make
you
other
looking
plans
Xiaochen
for
wanted
such
to
a
open
small
his
matter.
eyes and ask Lu
Lu
Shuangshuang,
tell
but
me
he couldn't.
suddenly
Is that
asked.
Lu Shuangshuang related
He
to
could
you?
only try his best to
Are
use
you
the
messing
mantra to
around
dissolve
behind
the
the Big
drug in his
Sister's
body
back
again.
Lu Shuangshuang, who was originally drunk,
Although Xiaochen
suddenly
knew
woke
that
up after
Hongju was
Xiaochen
joking,
fainted. He was still somewhat
she rolled out of
speechless.
bed and looked at the sleeping
All right,
Xiaochen.
all right, I won't tease you
She
anymore.
carefully
used her hand to poke
I'll help you
Xiaochen's
settle it.
arm. Seeing that
Xiaochen didn't
Xiaochen wasn't
respond.
saying anything,
After
Hongju
a while,
smiled and
Lu
said,
Shuangshuang
however,
poked
if you have any
Xiaochen's
good
arm
business,
again.
don't forget about me.
Xiaochen still didn't
Don't
respond.
worry, I won't.
Lu
Xiaochen
Shuangshuang
finally relaxed.
After hanging up the phone,
She didn't
Xiaochen
hesitate
looked
and
at
reached
Lu
out to
Shuangshuang,
unbutton
who was
Xiaochen's
lying
shirt.
beside him and looking at him with
At this
unblinking
moment,
eyes.
Lu Shuangshuang was like
Because
a
she was
thirsty
only
young
wearing
girl.
pajamas,
And because she was
quickly
lying on her
stripped
stomach,
Xiaochen's body,
the two
leaving only
hemispheres
a
on her
pair of
chest were
underwear
faintly
behind.
discernible.
After
Although he
hesitating for a
couldn't see it
while,
clearly,
Lu
this
Shuangshuang
hazy
clenched her
beauty made
teeth and
Xiaochen's
pulled off
heart tremble
Xiaochen's
slightly.
underwear.
Lu
Shuangshuang
also
face
saw
was a little
Xiaochen's
red.
gaze.
She didn't dare
She
to look straight
subconsciously
at
wanted
it,
to
but
lift
after
her
a
collar,
while,
but
she
for some
still
reason,
looked carefully.
she put it down and deliberately
Then,
puffed out
she
her
couldn't
chest.
help but click her tongue.
Hey, compared to
It's
your
so
girlfriend,
big.
how's my figure?
He can't stab me to
You're
death.
calling her, right? Fortunately,
No, it's
she's
fake.
JCUP. If I'm really his
Xiaochen
girlfriend,
was referring
I'll
to
have a
Tang
hard
Tang.
time.
At
At this
TCH,
moment,
what's
Lu
so good about
Shuangshuang
being
didn't
too big?
hesitate.
It's
She
a
didn't
burden
have
to
so
walk.
much time
It's
to
head
think about
heavy
whether
and
she was
light-footed.
shy or not.
I might even
She
choke to
quickly
death.
took off her clothes and
Lu
only wore a
Shuangshuang
small
said
nightgown nightgown to cover her body, but it seemed like she didn't mean it. Then, she quickly got out of bed and went to the windowsill. There shouldn't be any more problems. She opened the curtains a little. You can continue selling, Xiao Chen said. It looked like she was admiring the scenery outside. Your girlfriend is helping you take care of the mistress. Lu Shuangshuang was doing it for others to see. Lu Shuangshuang was a little curious and puzzled. If it wasn't out of Lu Shuangshuang's she's not my girlfriend, Xiao Chen the old man would definitely come to peep. Oh, she's also a mistress. Although he hadn't come yet, he would definitely come to check suddenly realized. Lu Shuangshuang was she also accidentally hurt by you, so she made this plan. And then you took her for yourself? After doing all this, Lu Shuangshuang quickly returned to the bed. Lu Shuangshuang's head and said, she glanced at Xiao Chen, who was lying on the bed. She's just a good friend of mine. And thought to herself, Xiao Chen, I'm not trying to trick you. I didn't do it on purpose. Chapter 434. Anyway, although you fainted, you've taken advantage of me. Lu Shuangshuang don't blame me when you wake up. However, but as soon as Lu Shuangshuang finished speaking, you won't know anything. Her phone rang. You definitely
She
won't
quickly
know what's
got
going
up,
on. But it affected the wound
Thinking
on her
of
lower
this,
body. Lu Shuangshuang directly
she gritted
sat
her
on
teeth
Xiao
in
Chen's
pain
body
and
and hopped over to pick up the
Her
phone.
lower
body was empty. However,
so she sat
when Lu
directly between
Shuangshuang
Xiao
saw the
Chen's
caller
legs.
ID, she was a
Although
little
Xiao
surprised.
Chen
didn't have any physiological
She quickly
reaction.
picked up the
Lu
phone.
Shuangshuang still felt a
Warden
little
Ma,
weird. Are you looking for me? She peeked at Xiao Chen
Sister
and found that he was
Shuangshuang,
still
can you
unconscious
stop messing
and
with me?
motionless. If you know
Lu
the higher-ups of our
Shuangshuang was
Hong Chamber
relieved.
of Commerce, just say
She
it.
kept
hinting to herself
How
in
can
her
I
heart
keep you
that
waiting?
Xiao Chen was a cushion.
Just
and she
now,
was sitting
Manager
on the cushion.
Tai
called me and said that
It
the
wasn't
people
a
from the
big deal.
headquarters specifically wanted to take care of you.
Because she didn't
know when the old man
would
come.
I-
Lu Shuangshuang could only
I'm
rub
really
herself
sorry
on
about
Xiao
what
Chen's
happened
body.
before.
Before
Warden
coming,
Ma,
she
who was
deliberately
usually
went to
cold
the
to
internet
Lu
cafe
Shuangshuang
to
and had a
download
business-like
some short
attitude.
movies. Had a surprisingly
She
good
imitated
attitude
the women
this
in the
time,
movies
even
and
pretended to lick
flattering.
Xiao Chen's chest with her
Ah.
mouth as if she was flirting.
Lu Shuangshuang
Sure enough,
was also a
as
little
Lu
surprised.
Shuangshuang expected. It
The
didn't
woman
take
that
long
Xiao
for
Chen
the
just
old man
called
in the
as a higher
bathroom
up
to
of the
appear
Hong
at the
Chamber
window
of
of Lu
Commerce.
Shuangshuang's room.
Damn,
How could
this
his
was the
little
fourth
son be so
floor,
powerful?
and
And
he
he actually came up directly.
Wasn't
he the least powerful?
Moreover,
He was
how
lying
about
on the
this?
window. In the future, our
How
warriors
badass
market
is this
square won't
person?
take a commission from selling
Lu
the
Shuangshuang
binoculars. Saw the old man from
You
the
can
corner
sell
of her
them as you
eyes,
like.
and she was shocked.
We can also add some
Although
other
she was
business
prepared,
items,
such
she
as
almost
popsicles,
peed in her pants.
melon seeds, and mineral
This person
water. Seems to be floating outside.
Anyway,
Since you like it,
is
I
this
will
a
report
ghost?
it to you and give you some
However,
certification stickers
in order
and
to
batches.
completely get rid
Warden
of the
Ma
old
said.
man,
Lu Shuangshuang
Ah.
gritted her teeth. Lu Shuangshuang
After
was a
licking
little
Xiao
dizzy.
Chen's chest,
She
happiness
began to
came
twist
too
her body,
fast.
and it was solved just
Then,
like that. She imitated the way in the short
Originally,
movies and
in her
began to
opinion,
move up and
it
down
was more
on Xiao
difficult
Chen's
than
body.
reaching the sky.
But
Anyway,
Xiao Chen actually
her lower
solved it
body
with a
was
phone
covered
call.
by her nightgown.
Now that she thought
The
about
old
it,
man couldn't
she
see
really
it from
didn't
the
get
outside.
hurt for nothing. As long
Lu
as she acted
Shuangshuang,
properly,
your bad
the
luck
old
is
man
over.
would definitely be confused.
Now,
your good luck
and
begins. Lu Shuangshuang felt a little embarrassed as she
happily.
screamed. I got it.
However,
Warden
she
Ma
had
no choice. Thank you very much. In order to make the old man
Lu
believe her,
Shuangshuang
she could
quickly
only
replied,
scream like a slut. You don't have to thank
Fortunately,
me. Xiao Chen
if you
was
want to thank
unconscious.
someone,
Thank the higher up you
if he was
found.
awake
and she asked him to
Attendant Ma
cooperate.
smiled
Let's
and
not
said,
talk about
"All
whether
right,
he would
Sister
cooperate or
Shuang.
not. Call me anytime
Even
if
if
you
he
need
did
anything.
cooperate.
She wouldn't
And,
be able to
all right,
perform so
goodbye,
boldly.
Deacon Ma."
She would
Lu
definitely be
Shuangshuang
embarrassed
felt
a
a
little
little
dizzy. The old
Looking
man
at
was
Xiao Chen
outside
on
the
the
window.
bed.
Her gaze also
He
became
looked
a
into
little
the room
tender and saw Lu Shuangshuang
She ran to
riding
the
on
bed
Xiao
in a few
Chen's
steps
body and kissed Xiao Chen's
His face
was a little gloomy. However, she
He
couldn't
didn't help
expect
but
Lu
move her wound
Shuangshuang
again,
to really have
causing
a
her to
boyfriend
cry
so
out.
soon. She held her crotch with both hands. Chapter 431. It was so painful that tears
seems
were
that
about
this
to come
chick
out.
has
grown up and is hard to control.
Xiao Chen
touched his face and
Now,
didn't know whether
she
to
has
laugh
lost
or
her
cry.
virginity.
This
She
Lu
is completely
Shuangshuang
worthless
was
to
really.
me.
After
The
thinking
old
for
man
a
was a
moment,
little
he
annoyed.
said, "Let me treat your wounds."
If I knew this would happen,
would have
cure,
threatened her
cure.
at that time. Lu Shuangshuang's
I have
eyes waited
widened.
in vain. How was she
It
going
must
to
be
cure
known
him?
how
difficult it was to
up
cultivate a
her
human
skirt
cauldron,
and show him her
especially
legs?
a woman with such a special
wrong?
physique. His expression
You don't
was
want
uncertain.
treatment?
He
Why
was
are you
thinking
injured
about
like
how to
this?
teach Lu Shuangshuang a lesson.
Xiao
Chen was slightly stunned.
He couldn't just let it go like
He
this.
looked at Lu
Xiao
Shuangshuang
Chen ran
and
the
said,
chi in his
"Aren't you
body
in
to
pain?"
dissolve the knockout powder.
This
But
knockout powder was really
Lu
nothing to
Shuangshuang
Xiao Chen.
looked at Xiao Chen sneakily.
It didn't take long for him to
Are you
recover
trying to
his
take the
willpower.
opportunity
to peek and take
Although he
advantage of
still
me?
couldn't open his eyes and
I've already
speak, and the muscles of his
body
body
were still a little
Didn't
numb
I
under
take
the effect of
advantage
the
of you?
knockout powder. He
Xiao
could use
Chen
his
suddenly
divine
didn't
sense
know
and
whether to
spiritual
laugh or
power to
cry.
perceive what was happening around
He
him.
said,
Besides,
"At the
you
same
don't have to
time,
look." He narrowed his eyes
sit
and
here.
could also see outside.
I will help you with my hands.
However, you
The
don't
scene
have to
that
look.
Xiao
Chen saw almost
Do
made
you
his
want to
blood
touch me?
boil, and
Asked
his blood
Lu
pressure had an
Shuangshuang.
attack. Then forget
What
it.
the F asterisk CK?
Xiao Chen
What
was
is this
speechless.
situation?
Then you
Looking
can
at
touch
Lu
me.
Shuangshuang
sitting on him,
Actually,
twisting
you have
her
helped me
waist and
so
moving
much.
up and down. Xiao
I
Chen
can
was
locate
suddenly
my position.
dumbfounded.
Isn't it just a
Mother
mistress?
asterisk Kerr, am I being
It's
pushed
nothing.
down?
This
Since
was
it's
the
already
first
like
thought
this,
that came to
I
Xiao
might as
Chen's
well
mind.
follow you, said Lu Shuangshuang.
It was no wonder that Xiao Chen thought
I'm
too
just
much.
treating your wounds. This posture,
If you
this
don't want to
riding
treat
posture,
me,
then
if it
forget
wasn't
it.
a push, what was it?
Xiao Chen glared at Lu
But then,
Shuangshuang.
Xiao Chen found that something
Why are
was
you so
wrong,
fierce?
because he didn't have that kind
You're
of
the one
feeling.
who injured me. After all, all,
Lu
he had done it with
Shuangshuang sat
Xinjingxian
next to Xiao
and Tang
Chen.
Tang.
Xiao
He knew
Chen
the
shook
feeling
his
of
head
this
and
kind of
reached out
thing.
to the acupuncture
Therefore,
point on
he was
Lu
very clear
Shuangshuang's
that Lu
waist.
Shuangshuang was simply
There was
moving
no
on him,
need to reach
and she
out to
didn't
her
really
sensitive
do it.
parts.
It could be said
Xiao
that it was
Chen
more
began
like
to try to
acting,
treat Lu Shuangshuang's
just like some
injuries.
third-grade movies.
In
The male
contrast,
and female
Lu
protagonists
Shuangshuang's
seemed to be
injuries were not
filming a
considered
passionate
injuries
scene.
at all.
But in fact, it was
Xiao
not
Chen
the case
only
at
took
all.
a few minutes to treat her.
It was just a random moan.
It
What
doesn't
made
hurt
Xiao
anymore.
Chen a little confused was why
Lu
Lu
Shuangshuang
Shuangshuang
did
stood up
this.
in surprise.
Is this chick sick?
She even deliberately jumped on
She
the
made
ground
me
twice,
dizzy,
and then secretly played
Nothing happened
simulated
at all.
sex. So Lu Shuangshuang
How could there
hurriedly
be
ran
such
to the
a
bathroom
simple-minded
unchecked.
woman in this world?
Looking at Lu
If he really
Shuang's
liked to
impatient
play,
personality,
he could buy a dummy
Xiao
to play
Chen
with
couldn't
at
help
home.
but smile. However,
This
even
girl is
Xiao Chen
crazy.
had to admit that although Lu
No wonder
Shuang
she
was
is so
pretending,
insensitive
her
and
voice
caused
was
such a
indeed very
mess.
seductive, causing
After a
little
while,
Xiao Chen
Lu
to have a
Shuang
reaction. Ran out of the bathroom and looked at Xiao
Lu
Chen with a
Shuang
strange
screamed in
expression.
pain.
What's wrong
She
with
suddenly
you? Felt a sharp pain
Is your
coming
injury
from her
not
lower
healed?
body. Xiao
It was
Chen looked at Lu
heart-wrenching.
Shuang strangely
Then,
and asked.
very
quickly, she understood
No,
what was
it's
going
healed.
on, but it's a bit too
It was
complete.
Xiao Chen's little Xiao Chen.
Lu Shuang said. He suddenly reacted
Complete
and
is
stood
not
up,
good.
but she didn't realize it.
Do you want me to treat half of
She
it
was
and
still
leave the rest
happily
to you?
acting, moving up and
Xiao
down like
Chen was
crazy.
stunned
and asked in confusion.
Then,
a tragedy happened.
That's not what I mean.
The fake act
I
became
mean,
real.
that's healed
Lu
too.
Shuang had a feeling,
Lu
and so did
Shuang
Xiao
hesitated
Chen.
and said.
He was also
What
a
do you
little
mean by
surprised.
this and that?
Just like
Xiao
that,
Chen didn't
they
understand.
went in. It's
Damn,
the membrane.
it can't be, right?
Lu Shuang said. Lu Shuang almost cried. Xiao Chen
Gone.
almost spat
The
out
first
his
time was
saliva
gone
just
after
like
hearing
that.
it. It's
He
over.
looked at Lu Shuang in
What
shock.
should I do?
No
It's
way.
too much.
This can be
And
healed.
Xiao
Chen almost cried
If
too.
I open
a clinic, won't I
She
be rolling
pushed him
in money
down
for no reason? You're still laughing. Was she asking him to take
Then,
responsibility?
the
next time you want to do that with
Xiao
me,
Chen had
won't I have
always
to
taken
suffer
this
again?
aspect
seriously. I still have to die.
Although
from the
he was
pain.
always
thinking about when he could do
Really?
it with Shin Jingxian again.
Lu
it was
Shuang
only limited
complained.
to the person he liked. It's not good to fix
He
it.
wasn't
a casual man. This way, it's
even
the
when
same
he
as
was
the
before.
young master of the Xiao family.
You don't have to
He
rely
never
on
went
me
to
in the
look for
future.
prostitutes. Xiao Chen
In
didn't
his
understand
opinion,
Lu
women
Shuang's
could only
thinking.
develop to that stage if they
Aren't
had
girls
feelings.
usually very concerned about
And
this?
once
they developed, they would
Now
never
that it's
give up.
healed,
She's not happy.
But what the hell was going
If
on
it's
with
healed,
Lu Shuang?
I'm lying to myself. He didn't have time to
In
think
my
about
heart,
it. I already feel that
it
I'm
seemed
not.
that a
warm feeling came
What's
from his
the use
lower
of
body
fixing
and
it?
entered his dantian. Isn't this an unnecessary
Xiao Chen
move?
quickly
used the mantra to dissolve
AI.
this warmth. Lu Shuang
And in his
said
body,
gloomily,
the
demonic energy of the middle-aged woman that he didn't
Then,
completely
should I
dissolve
break it
last
for you
time was
again?
now
Asked
completely
Xiao Chen.
mobilized by Xiao Chen. Don't. It was swallowed
Let's
by the
wait for a
warm
few
feeling
days.
mixed with the vital energy
I'm
in
in
his body.
so
much pain today. Xiao Chen was slightly
Shuang
surprised. shook her head quickly. He didn't dare to be negligent.
It's better
not to treat it. He couldn't care less
Xiao
about
Chen
Lu
was
Shuang
also a
bit puzzled. He quickly
Does
used
my
the mantra
vitality
to
have
change
such
the
a
vision
function?
in his body. But thinking about
Although
it,
Xiao
maybe
Chen
it's
didn't know
because
why
Lu
his body
Shuang
felt this
hasn't been
way.
injured for
It was
a long
just like
time,
when he was with
so
Shin
it can be
Jingxian.
healed.
It
But if it's
seemed
an old injury,
it could improve his
it can't be
strength.
healed. At this moment,
Thinking of this,
Lu Shuang
Xiao Chen
was a
was
little
suddenly
frightened and
enlightened.
regretful. Okay,
She sat
stop
there in a
complaining,
daze.
but she didn't forget
Hurry
to get
up
up
and
and tell me what's going on.
She
just stared at Xiao Chen
How did you
in a
provoke
daze.
that
old man? Xiao Chen
Did you
felt
sell
a
the
little
binoculars
depressed
to
to others at a
complicated?
high price again. It was
Asked
just a
Xiao
poke,
Chen.
and it seemed like it was
How is
poked
that
through.
possible?
But
Logically
logically
speaking,
was suddenly
it couldn't be
amused after
considered
listening.
doing it.
I
It
didn't
could
sell
only be
binoculars
considered
at
an
a accidental
accidental
injury. It's
But
all clearly
Xiao
marked
Chen
and
really
honest.
couldn't
find a reason to convince
That
himself
old man
to
is
cut
called
ties
Elder
with Lu
Shuang.
Shuang in the future. It's a long story. Not to mention that Lu
I've known him
Shuang had
for 10
provided a lot of
years.
help to his cultivation.
Oh.
Now,
10 years?
Xiao Chen could basically confirm
Chen
that this
was a
could
little
improve his
surprised after
cultivation,
listening.
but he didn't know if it was
It's been
effective
so
the first
long,
time or
and he
every
didn't do
time in the
anything to
future.
you.
In
Why
any
did he
case,
suddenly want to
his
kill you
relationship
today?
with Lu Shuang
It's
in
like
the future
this.
was enough to give him a headache. At that time, my grandmother
Chen
was
wanted to be
seriously
strangers
ill. with her in the future. I
But could
invited
he?
a doctor, but the doctor
Xiao
said
Chen
that she
was a
couldn't
man
make
with
it.
a strong sense of male
Even if we sent her
chauvinism.
to the hospital, she
Since
would only
Lu
last a few days.
was
already in a relationship
with
the
him,
doctor saw
if
the
Lu
condition of my
Shuang
family
followed
and someone
kindly
else told
in the
me not
future,
to waste
he
my
would be
money.
disgusted to death.
It's better to stay at home.
Sigh.
I'll take it one
Eat
step
whatever
at a
you
time.
want to
eat and drink these few
The
days.
most
important thing for Xiao Chen
In my
to do right now
disappointment,
was to
I met
dissolve
him.
the warm current and demonic
He said that he
energy
had
in
a
his
way to
body.
control my
the energy
grandmother's
circulated
illness so
in
that
his
my
body,
grandmother
and
wouldn't
the
die.
speed was getting faster and
So,
faster. I believed him, and he
soon,
really had a way.
Xiao
Chen touched the edge of
the
he gave me a
barrier.
prescription and let my
Was he going
grandmother
to break
live
through
until
again?
now. Xiao
Oh.
Chen was a little excited
This person
and
is
excited.
quite
amazing.
He
Strength
can
had
actually
always
give
been his
prescriptions.
greatest desire. Xiao Chen
He
was
knew that
slightly
only with
shocked.
strength
could he stand firm Generally in Songning
speaking,
City and
the level of
investigate the
evil
mastermind
cultivators
behind
wasn't
the
very
scenes.
high.
As
They
long as
all
the
relied on
mastermind
some
behind the
dishonest
scenes
ways
was
to
dealt
improve
with,
their
he
strength.
wouldn't have to worry about not
For
being
some
able to
real
find clues
scientific
about his
knowledge,
father. There was still a big
These
gap.
thoughts
circled in Xiao
However,
Chen's mind. He didn't expect that this evil
Soon,
cultivator
his
could
body
actually
trembled,
maintain the
as
life
if
of
the
a dying
warm
person
feeling
for 10
demonic
years.
energy,
and energy
was
had
not
intertwined and exploded. Then between you and him, Xiaochen felt a slight numbness in his meridians and elixir field. If I didn't have a boyfriend when I was 20 years old, his whole body seemed to have been give him my first time and become and exploded in an instant. But if I had a boyfriend, the previous feeling of obstruction was gone, but the warm feeling and demonic energy didn't disappear completely. There was still a part of it left. All these years, however, I've been working hard to earn money. Broke through the obstruction, except for the necessary living expenses and grandma's medical expenses. I've saved the
As
rest
for
of
the
the
energy
money
in Xiao Chen's body,
now,
there was
I've
only his
saved
own
more than
energy
800,000.
He had broken
Damn,
through.
you really know how to
The
save
current
money.
Xiao Chen was already a
Xiao
cultivator
Chen
at
was
the
a little
8th level of the
shocked.
Qi refinement stage.
He really didn't see that Lu
In theory,
Shuangshuang was
it was
actually
equivalent
so
to
good
a
at
martial
saving
artist
money.
at the 9th level of the
A
inner
girl in the
force
slums
stage,
who depended
or even
on her
the peak of
grandmother
the
for
9th
survival,
level.
earned
However,
so much
at the
money
moment
by
when the
selling
energy
binoculars.
exploded, Xiao Chen seemed to have been stimulated by something.
Yes, but I didn't expect
At this
that Elder
moment,
Shishan
it
would
also
find me and
exploded.
go back on his words.
This made Xiao Chen really
He didn't want my
speechless,
money, and
but
he
even
insisted
felt a
that I
little
give him my
ashamed.
first time and become his lover.
Even a fast gunman couldn't be
Lu
this fast,
Shuangshuang
right?
said, actually,
He
I
secretly
secretly
found
found
out that he used me for cultivation.
Isn't this too weak?
He said that my
This
physique
is really
especially
damaging to my
suitable to be
heroic
a cauldron
image.
that can help him improve his
Moreover,
cultivation. What made Xiao Chen most
especially
depressed
the
was
first
that this
time,
was great.
it can help him break through
Previously,
directly.
he could have hinted
But
that
now,
it was an accident.
it's wasted
but
by
now,
you.
He wouldn't believe it even
When
if
Xiao
he said
Chen
that
heard
he
Lu
didn't do it.
Shuangshuang's words,
Although
he couldn't help
he
but
really
look at her
didn't
in
do it
shock.
at all.
Lu
Breaking through directly
Shuangshuang
on the
felt
first
a heat
time
under her body.
No wonder. Only then did she come
Xiao
back
Chen
to her
was also
senses.
very puzzled.
She quickly
He
turned
had just
over and
broken
got
through
off.
not long ago.
However,
In
she was
theory,
shocked to
it
see
shouldn't
that
be
Xiao
so
Chen's
fast to
area
break
was sticky,
through.
and there was even a
It
trace
seemed
of
that
blood.
this should be Lu Shuangshuang's
At this
credit.
moment, an unexplainable
Then,
resentment
you found
surged
me
in
and
her
asked
heart.
me to pretend to be your boyfriend.
This guy, Xiao Chen,
So,
really knows
deceiving
how to
Fat
take
Bear
advantage
was
of
fake.
others, but deceiving this
Is
elder
this even
Shishan was
possible?
real, right? Although Lu
Xiao Chen
Shuangshuang didn't know
roughly
much
understood.
about this kind of thing. She
However,
had crammed a lot
this
of
person
porn was
before.
called Elder Shishan. This Xiao Chen's
What was
speed
his
is too
relationship
fast,
with the
right?
old goblin Shishan that he
She
killed
heard that only
previously?
virgins would be so fast.
Could he be
and
an evil
done in an
cultivator
instant?
from the same place?
Now, it
Yes.
seems that this guy is the same.
You saw through me.
Then, would he be
I'm
able to
sorry.
accept her as his girlfriend?
Lu Shuangshuang stuck
After
out her
thinking
tongue
about
and
it,
said,
Lu
Actually,
Shuangshuang
I
felt
didn't
that
want
it
to
was
lie
still
to you.
impossible. But this elder Shishan is
Xiao
very
Chen
powerful.
didn't know about it.
I was
He was
afraid
still
that
in a
after I
coma.
told you, you would be worried
Even if
and
she
not
told
help him
me.
later. It wouldn't be
But
good. You also did that to me,
Sigh,
so we're
Lu
even.
Shuangshuang.
Hee. Why are
Okay.
you so unlucky? Xiao Chen said.
Why did you have to encounter all
What do you
sorts
mean
of
by
bad
even?
luck?
It's
Ever
obvious
since you
that
were
I
young,
made a big
you and
profit.
Lin Kuo were really two
That was
great
already an
calamities,
advantage,
always
and I
bringing
broke
bad
through
luck
because
to
of
each
Lu
other.
Shuangshuang. Sitting at the
This
side,
is a great
Lu
advantage.
Shuangshuang's feelings were a little complicated. She didn't know what to do in
Chapter
the future.
435.
In fact,
Level
although
8
she
of
was
Qi
crazy every
refinement
day,
stage.
she was actually a very
This strength
conservative
was
person.
enough to
dominate the entire Songning
Otherwise,
city. She would have agreed to the old
Here,
man a
there
long
were
time
few
ago
who could
rival him. Moreover,
But
the
you
conditions
asked me
that
not
the
to
old
have a
man gave her
boyfriend.
also made her very
Now,
tempted.
you owe me.
Although she didn't know
You
whether
can't
it was
say
true
no
or
to
not,
my request.
if she didn't care, she could
Lu
test it out.
Shuangshuang said.
There was no
Well,
loss. Tell me, what else do you
But
want?
now,
She was inexplicably
Chen
played
nodded
by
and
Xiao
asked.
Chen. Your
She
medical
really didn't
skills
know
are
who
so
to blame.
good that you can cure my
In
injury
the
in a short
end,
time.
she couldn't blame Xiao Chen.
Can you go and see my grandma?
Why, yeah.
If you can cure my
The
grandma's
old man's
illness,
blood
then I
surged as he
promise you
watched
that I
from
won't
the
have a
outside.
boyfriend for the rest of my life.
With the moonlight,
and I won't have any
he could see
intimate
the sticky
relationship
and
with
bright
other men. Red blood on Xiao Chen's
mean
body.
it.
The
Lu
old man
Shuangshuang
naturally
swore.
understood what was going on.
Oh.
What did
That
she
you
mean
mean
by
elder?
sleeping with
You
him
didn't
before?
cure him?
It was
Xiao
clearly
Chen
his
asked.
first time just now.
No,
He
just
had a feeling
maintaining
that he
it.
had been fooled by Lu
And I
Shuangshuang.
found out
that after my grandma drank
wanted
the
to
medicine
kill
he
this
made,
adulterous
she
couple to
seemed to
vent
have
his
other
anger.
problems.
Bang.
She could only lie on the bed.
The glass of the
weak,
room
and
was
couldn't
directly
stand up at
smashed
all
by the old man's kick.
Although she was alive,
With a
it was
whoosh,
more painful.
the old man
and she
rushed
couldn't
in and
take care of
shouted,
herself.
Lu
Shuangshuang.
Lu
Lu
Shuangshuang
said,
said,
I suspect that the medicine
Since
he
I
made
can't
for me
have
is
it,
not good.
you can go to
So I
hell.
have a conflict with him. Lu Shuangshuang
If
was
he had
shocked,
really cured
and
my
her
grandma
face
back
suddenly
then,
turned pale.
it would
not be impossible for
She
me
didn't
to promise
expect
him
the
the old
these
man
things
as
to
a way of
suddenly rush
repaying
in
his
and kill
kindness.
people.
Luckily,
She even forgot
you didn't
that the
promise
old
him.
man was around just now.
Xiao Chen said,
Her
that
mind
person
was
is an
completely
evil
stuck in the
cultivator.
annoyance of losing her
If
first
you promised
time.
him, he would treat you as a
Otherwise,
human
she
cauldron.
wouldn't have ignored the old man.
Maybe after a few times,
But now,
he would
it
absorb
was too
all
late
the
to
yin
say
qi in
anything.
your body, and your life
She
would be in
believed that the
danger.
old
man had already discovered
So
the problem.
scary.
Don't
Lu
mess around.
Shuangshuang was a little scared.
It's none of his business.
Evil cultivators are not
Lu
good people.
Shuangshuang was shocked. I can see that he has
Although
an evil
she was
aura
very
on him.
angry with Xiao Chen for
This
being
person is
dishonest
definitely
and injuring
not
her
a good person.
inexplicably.
It was still an
If there's a
accident in the
chance,
end. I will help you kill him. She was the one who asked
Xiao
Xiao Chen
Chen
to
said.
help.
How
Thank you.
could she
You are
watch
so
Xiao
good
Chen
to
be
me.
killed
by the old man. A touch
of tenderness
It's none of his
flashed in Lu
business.
Xuangshuang's eyes.
The old man suddenly sneered.
Since she was a child, no one cared about her so much except
You're
her
quite
grandmother.
infatuated.
Even if it was
You know how to
Kerlin,
protect your
they were
man.
just good sisters.
But it doesn't matter.
Moreover,
No
Kerlin's
matter what you
family
say
situation
today,
was
the
worse
two
than
of you will
hers,
die without
so
a doubt.
Kerlin couldn't help her much.
I'll let the two of you die
However,
together as a pair of
Xiaoqun
lovebirds.
cared about her in all aspects.
I've done my best.
Although he accidentally
He.
hurt her, overall, Xiao Chen was still very responsible.
Chapter 432.
He was not like those legendary young masters
He doesn't
who would
turn
turn
their
their backs
backs
on others after eating. He's a temporary actor.
On the other
I
hand,
invited. Xiao Chen had always
Lu
been thinking
Shuangshuang
about
hurriedly
explained.
I
Even
don't
if
care
Xiao
if you
Chen
want to
forbade
pay
her
me,
from having
but
a
he is
boyfriend.
really innocent.
Lu Shuangshuang
Xiao
didn't
Chen
have
had
a
actually
boyfriend
woken
at
up
all.
a long time ago.
Previously,
He
her
knew
thoughts
exactly
were all
what was
on her
going on
grandmother.
outside.
How could
However,
she have the time
he
to
had
have
just
a boyfriend?
broken through,
So he had to
Moreover,
continue the mantra
her
of the
thoughts
primordial
were especially
circulation technique
conservative.
to stabilize the primordial
Since she had
energy
already
in his
followed
body.
Xiao Chen,
She wouldn't be
otherwise,
able to get
if
over
his
it if she
strength was
followed someone
unstable,
else. It would be easy for him
even
to
if
go
Xiao
berserk.
Chen didn't say it, she
That
wouldn't
would
go.
be really F***.
I have said that I will try my
Lu
best to help you with your
Shuangshuang's
matters.
performance at the moment made Xiao
Xiao
Chen
Chen
look at her in a
said,
different
when this
light.
reunion is over, I
Xiao
will go
Chen
to see
also
your grandmother and
understood
see if
Lu
there is a way to
Shuangshuang's
treat her.
approach. She was acting for the old man, but she was careless and
Lu
made things
Shuangshuang
worse.
nodded happily.
But in any case,
There was a big
Lu
hole in the
Shuangshuang's
room.
affectionate and loyal
Although it
attitude
hadn't
made Xiao
snowed
Chen's
yet,
impression
it was
of her
already
soar.
very cold.
Of course,
The cold
there was
wind
the
of
fact
early
that
winter
she had
was blowing.
accidentally injured him. Xiao Chen was
In
a cultivator,
Xiao Chen's heart,
so it didn't
he had
matter,
already
but
regarded
Lu Shuangshuang was an ordinary
person.
person. Even if they could not develop
because her
into a
attention
couple
was
in the
on
future,
Elder Shishan,
Xiao Chen would
she
not
didn't
ignore
notice
Lu
the cold.
Shuangshuang's matters. Now that she had let
He would
go
even
of the
be a
matter,
little
she
overbearing
couldn't
and
help but shiver
restrictive.
from having a boyfriend in the
She
future.
quickly pulled a big quilt
Old
over
thing,
and got into
are you
it.
looking for death?
She said.
Xiao
It's
Chen
so
sat up
cold.
and stared coldly at the old
Xiao
man
Chen
in front of
directly
him.
called the service desk
He
and
asked,
said,
"You're
"Can you get a
disturbing
maintenance
me and my
worker?"
girlfriend in the middle of the
The
night.
glass in my room was
Are you a
inexplicably
pervert?
broken.
Can you help me change it or
Xiao
change a
Chen,
room?
you're awake.
When Lu Shuangshuang heard that someone was
stunned,
coming,
but
she
when she
naturally
heard Xiao
put on her
Chen's
clothes
pretense,
quickly. She was a little worried.
Xiao Chen also put on
This
his
guy
pajamas.
just woke up. Not
I
long
don't know what's
after,
going
the
on.
lobby manager of the resort
he
came
still
with two
acting?
maintenance workers. However, it was
They
okay
thought that
for
one
him
of the
to act
windows was
against
broken,
ordinary people.
but
When they entered the room,
The
they
key
saw that
problem was
all
that
the
the
windows
old man
were
in front
broken.
of her was not an ordinary
They couldn't
person,
help but be
but
stunned.
a real warrior and evil cultivator.
What happened to you? He was
Why
even
are
a
they
very
all
powerful
broken?
high-end warrior.
The cost of this glass
You're
is
awake.
very high.
Xiao Chen
Since you
hugged Lu
damaged it,
Shuangshuang,
you'll have to
then
compensate
glared at the
according
old
to the
man and
price.
said,
Why aren't you getting
as
lost?
soon as the lobby manager entered
you know
the door,
who I am?
he placed the blame on Xiao
I can
Chen.
make you disappear from this planet
This
in
made
minutes.
Xiao Chen a little angry. After that,
Although
Xiao Chen
Elder
even winked
Shishan
at
came
Lu
for Lu
Shuangshuang.
The
It
resort was
seemed to
actually
me that he
responsible.
acted well, right?
Allowing strangers
Didn't
to
it
come
feel
in was
good?
not good for public
Does
security.
it look like something like that?
Moreover, it was
Lu
Elder
Shuangshuang
Shishan who
didn't
broke
know
it.
whether to laugh or cry.
What did it have to do with Xiao Chen?
This Xiao Chen was really
If
into
he
the
were to
role,
negotiate,
but did he understand
Xiao Chen
the
wouldn't be
situation?
short of money.
Actually,
He could
Lu
just give it to
Shuangshuang
him.
misunderstood.
But now,
Xiao
Xiao Chen
Chen's
winked
expression
at her,
suddenly
signaling her
turned
not to
cold.
worry and not to be nervous.
He said,
Are you blind?
However, Lu
Didn't you see
Shuangshuang
these glass
misunderstood him.
shards?
Xiao
They are all
Chen,
shattered
hurry
on the
up
floor
and leave
of the
this
room.
place. This
This
clearly
person
broken
doesn't
from
need
the
you to
outside.
act.
Do you
He
think
can
I
kill
can stand
you.
outside the window and
Kill me?
shatter the glass one by one?
I can even kill him.
What kind of look is that?
Xiao Chen squinted at the old
This.
man and said, Old
The
bastard,
lobby manager
are you going to
actually
leave
had the
by
idea
yourself,
of letting the
or do you
customer
want me to
pay
send
if
you
he
off?
could?
Why,
This
yeah,
way,
yeah, yeah.
the hotel would lose
Boy,
less.
I'll let you die first.
Anyway, many things
As
couldn't
he
be
spoke,
explained clearly.
the old man's aura surged
If the
and
customer
evil
said
chi
that they
was
weren't the
revealed
one
from
who
head
broke
to
it,
toe.
there was no evidence.
However, it also
just
caused
like
Xiao
that,
Chen
the
to be
resort
slightly
could
shocked.
naturally collect the money. But now,
What was going
what
on?
Xiao Chen said was
He
right.
was
a stage 10 inner
The glass
force
shards
evil
were all
cultivator.
on
the floor of the room.
Wasn't he too powerful?
This was the fourth floor. Seeing his opponent's
Who
strength,
could stand
Xiao
outside
Chen
and
didn't
knock
dare
on the
to
glass?
be careless. Wouldn't that
He
be
made the
courting
first
death?
move and directly blocked
However,
Lu Shuangshuang
who broke the
behind
glass?
him.
Xiao
The two
Chen
of us
suddenly
were sleeping
exploded
well
and
when there was
smashed
a
his
sudden
palm
bang.
towards the old man's chest.
The glass was shattered.
Sneak attack when
What's
you're
wrong with your
unprepared and
resort?
kill you. Why is
This
there a
palm of
thief in the
Xiao
middle of the
Chen's
night?
was using the primordial chi
Or is
in
there
his
someone
body to
playing
the
a prank?
extreme?
If
Dark
not,
flame palm,
it's haunted.
ninth style.
It scared me to
Asterisk
death.
boom.
Asterisk
Xiao
the old
Chen
man
said,
spat out a mouthful of
This.
blood and was directly sent
I'm
flying out of the
sorry.
window by Xiao Chen.
Don't be angry.
He crashed into the hill
Otherwise,
behind the
I
resort.
will change a room for you.
Behind the resort
Then,
was the foot of
today's
a small
accommodation
hill. Fee will be waived.
There was no one at night.
How
So
about
Xiao
it?
Chen didn't need to hide anything.
The lobby manager was also a little
Fortunately,
puzzled. This room was at the back
How
of
did
the
it
resort.
break?
If it was in the front, there would
However,
be cars below,
no matter how
and it
it
would be
broke,
troublesome. He must calm the customer.
However,
Xiao Chen
if
didn't
he went
relax
out,
after his
whether
attack.
it was a thief or a haunted
Instead,
resort,
it would
he
cause
followed
an
the old
extremely
man and
bad
jumped
jumped out of the window under Lu Shuangchuang's
He could only
stunned
apologize
gaze.
and compensate.
Naturally, Xiao
Forget
Chen
it.
wanted to kill all the old
Since
man
your
and not
attitude
leave
is
any
good,
future
change
trouble.
a room for us.
No matter what,
Xiao
he had
Chen
to kill
waved
this
his
old
hand.
man. As for
First,
the accommodation
this old man
fee,
had a grudge
someone
against
is
Lu
Lu
Shuangchuang.
You don't have to
If he
calculate
didn't
it.
kill him,
Lu
but you go
Shuangchuang
out
might
and
be in
buy me a
danger in the
box of
future.
levonorgestrel.
Lu Shuangchuang
Then,
was just
this
an
matter will
ordinary
be
girl
over.
without inner force.
Okay.
She was no
The
match
lobby
for him at
manager
all.
signaled to a maintenance worker
Second,
and said,
he saw
"You go
Xiao
and buy
Chen's
it
true
first."
colors. This glass will be changed later, and he was very strong. Hurry up. This matter couldn't be spread out for the time being. Otherwise, it would be difficult to investigate the mastermind behind this. The lobby manager said to another on a large rock on the hillside, "You sweep the floor here first." He felt like his bones were about to fall apart. I will take these two guests to the new room, especially the palm that hit his chest. The lobby manager changed a room. It made him feel like he was going to die. Just this environment was better than the previous one. Caused him serious internal injuries. It was said that it was reserved for emergencies. He never thought that Lu Shuangshuang's boyfriend was actually a master, usually, and a top evil cultivator. The maintenance worker had returned with a box of pills in his hand and handed it to his opponent. Was at least at the peak of stage 9. Closed the door with satisfaction. This palm was the ninth style of dark flame palm, but give Xiao Chen a thumbs up. It was incomparably skilled. You are really amazing. It wasn't something that someone who had just entered stage 9 inner force could perform. I saved more than 10 yuan to be able to perform this martial arts skill that Lu Shuangshuang was talking about. Him dealing with be around the peak of stage 9 inner force. He didn't expect her to talk about the medicine. This was similar to the old man's speechless. Moreover, the old man was seriously injured. Hey, how could he win? You won't mess with me today. He looked at Xiao Chen, who was chasing after him. Opened the pills and he couldn't help but speak timidly. Young hero, I didn't mean to offend you. Xiao Chen was stunned and then shook his head. I promise I won't bother you anymore. How can you say that? If you let me live more today, civilized next time, the West Mountain Lecher, I will repay you handsomely in the future. Oh, you're a heretic cultivator and I'm an evil cultivator. What should I think? I'll let you go? Do me? Xiao Chen's cold voice came from afar. Otherwise, soon the medicine will be wasted. From the sky and was about to land a blow on the old man's body. Then I am going to sleep. Originally, the West Mountain Lecher thought that he would first trick Xiao Chen and let him escape to heal his injuries. Pulled the quilt over her body and when his injuries were healed, he would find Xiao Chen for revenge. He sat cross-legged beside Even if he couldn't beat Xiao Chen, he could still vent his anger on his girlfriend, to consolidate his strength. Using the mantra, he didn't expect that Xiao Chen with the Elder Heaven Ancestor in his mind. This made him feel Elder Heaven Ancestor. I actually gritted his teeth and saw that Xiao Chen was about to come over. Physique. His body suddenly burst out a ball of black gas. It's true that her physique is special, Xiao Chen but the most important thing hurriedly is that the primordial een of a virgin is a good cultivation resource. Only God knows what kind of weird situation would happen if he were to come into contact with the black gas that burst out from the body of these why many cultivators like to cultivate human Xiao Chen did not want anything to happen. It is a shortcut to improve their cultivation. However, after he retreated, when the black gas suddenly understood, the West Mountain Lecher's figure was already gone. Is the second time still useful? He had disappeared into thin air. The second time is useful, but the effect is not as good as the first time. His strength was still not enough. After 3 to 5 times, if he was at the 9th level of the Qi refinement stage, he wouldn't care about Ancestor explained. He would directly rush into the evil Qi and kill the West Mountain cultivators who use the method of collecting Yin to nourish Yang will constantly change their target instead of focusing on one. His identity would immediately be exposed. Who has been repaired? Now, does only the West Mountain Lecher knew that he had strength. Xiao Chen suddenly had an idea. He might not be able to connect him with the trash of the Xiao family. Elder Heaven cultivators obviously didn't pay much attention to the aristocratic families in the secular world. You only repaired externally. For a while, the primordial Xiao Chen's identity might not be exposed. I see. Of course, but Xiao Chen could only comfort himself want to cultivate Lu Shuangshuang as a human cauldron. He didn't dare to stay for long. Is there anything special about her? He was running naked behind the resort. Can't she just keep improving her cultivation? There was still a ball of red and white sticky under his body. Yes, if someone saw this, Xiao Chen would really be ashamed. If she cultivates the corresponding Heart Sutra, she can always be used as a human person on the windowsill. She will produce new primordial Yin was standing in front of the windowsill in a daze. Elder Sky said, her mind was in a mess. This is similar to dual cultivation. She felt that today's events were like a dream. You leave your vital energy in her body First of all, and take her vital She had inexplicably lost her chastity. The two of you are equal to dual cultivation. This was a line of defense that she had guarded Not only will it not harm her body, but it was broken but it will also increase her cultivation. It made her feel empty It's similar to you and Yi Xiaoya, but the method of cultivation is different. To think about this anymore. For Yi Xiaoya, because the West Mountain energy had already come to the room and wanted to kill her and if it was someone else, there wouldn't be such an critical moment. Xiao Chen actually made his move. On the other hand, is using her vital Yin. And his strength is very high. However, uses her primordial Yin. He can actually beat the West Mountain Lecher who was at the 10th level. It is a long-term accumulation. This shocked Lu Shuangshuang. It is a one-time acquisition. She never thought that Xiao Chen's strength was actually so high. When she cultivates her primordial Yin again, which big family's disciple is he? No, so that's how can a big family's disciple have this kind of strength? What kind of Heart Sutra does Lu Shuangshuang need to cultivate? I'm afraid he's an outstanding disciple sent by those sects to train. How would I know? Seeing him jump down from the 4th Heaven floor, Ancestors and then jump back to the 4th floor, almost choke, forcing the West Mountain Lecher to beg for mercy and escape. Lu Shuangshuang felt that her brain
Chapter
wasn't
436.
It can't be.
Then,
my luck
do you
is
have a
starting to
corresponding
reverse?
mental cultivation method?
Shouldn't it be bad luck? Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat.
Why is it that all of a sudden,
a
this
random
was a
man
great
is so
thing?
awesome? If Lu
That's the
Shuangshuang
existence
could
of the
become
10th
a human
level of the
cauldron,
inner force,
it would be
or
of
even
great
higher.
benefit to his own cultivation.
She felt that Xiao Chen was able to defeat the West Mountain
Elder
Old
Heaven
Pervert,
Ancestor
so she
said,
subconsciously
this is
believed
something
that
that only
Xiao Chen
evil
had the same level
cultivators
of
do.
strength as the West Mountain
How
Old
could I
Pervert,
have it?
but he might not be stronger.
This, you can't say that
If
I'm
he
an
was
evil
stronger,
cultivator.
the West Mountain Old Pervert
At least
would
I
have been
didn't
killed by
force
Xiao
Lu
Chen
Shuangshuang
with a single palm strike,
Xiao
and he
Chen
would not
said
have been
while
able
sweating.
to escape.
You'd better
It has
ask
to be
Elder
said that Lu
Shishan for it.
Shuangshuang's brain is quite
I
bright.
really don't have it.
This is also
Elder
related
Heaven
to her hanging out in
Ancestor
the
said,
warrior guild
whether you
all
believe
day
it or
long.
not. This old man
She
is
has
still
heard
a
about the
virgin.
levels of these martial
If
artists.
it was my good friend, he
When
might
Xiao
have it,
Chen
but I
returned to the
definitely
room,
don't.
he couldn't help but feel a little awkward.
Xiao Chen
facing
almost
Lu
choked to death
Shuangshuang
on his own saliva.
Just now,
Elder
he went to
Heaven
beat someone
Ancestor
up,
was a
but
virgin.
now that there were only the two
However,
of them in the room,
at this point,
Xiao Chen didn't have the
really had
domineering
no
attitude
other way
from before.
He said,
Lu
I see.
Shuangshuang. That
What's
is to
going
say,
on?
if I do it with her now,
Xiao Chen looked at
after
Lu
a few
Shuangshuang,
times, but he
it will be
couldn't bear to
useless?
blame her, so he could only
Yes.
frown and ask.
Elder Heaven Ancestor
Although he was
said,
used by this
unless
greedy
she is
girl,
allowed to
didn't
cultivate,
he also get a greater
otherwise,
benefit?
even if she has a special
Not
physique,
to mention the
it will be
increase in
useless.
strength. Just the fact that
Because
Lu
she needs a
Shuangshuang
mental
gave her body
cultivation
to him
method to
made
tap her
Xiao Chen
potential.
unable to get angry at her.
Without the mental cultivation
Previously,
method,
when he
will be
accidentally
useless.
hurt her, it could be said that it was Lu
what is the
Shuangshuang's
special
fault,
ability of the
but
8th
later
level
on,
of Qi
it
refinement
was Xiao
realm?
Chen's own fault.
Xiao Chen changed
She
the
didn't
topic
even
and
move.
asked,
Why did you get angry? The special ability
Aren't
of
you
the
just
8th
taking
level of Qi
responsibility for
refinement
yourself?
realm is illusion. However,
In
Xiao
fact,
Chen is
it
not
is
a
to create
person who
long-term
cares about
illusions.
small things. For example,
Ever since
you
he
can
was
change
kicked
your
out of the
appearance
Shao
for a long
family,
time. Xiao Chen experienced
It
a
will
lot
not
of
be as
things.
short as before.
His whole thinking
According
and
to the
mentality
size of the
changed.
illusion you set up,
Since
the
it has
duration
already
is also
happened,
different.
he won't regret it. If
He
you
just
only
wants to
change
deal
your
with it
appearance,
properly.
you can last for a long
Xiao
time.
Chen.
Elder
I'm
Heaven
sorry.
Ancestor explained.
I
But
almost
if you want to
killed
set
you.
up a big illusion,
Lu
it will not
Shuangshuang's
last for a
face
long
was a little
time.
pale.
Oh, she thought that if
It
Xiao
will be
Chen
good
didn't
if
have
I
the
can
strength
change my
today,
appearance for
then
a long
Xiao
time.
Chen would have been implicated by her. Xiao Chen was very satisfied with this. His current ability
Chapter
was already very
433.
great. Hearing
Even
that
without
Lu
the help of
Shuangshuang's
those
first
cultivation
sentence was to
methods,
apologize
he could already
instead
look
of
down
blaming
on
him for
someone.
accidentally hurting
The Elder
her.
Heaven
Xiao Chen's
Ancestor poured a
impression of
bucket
this
of
girl
cold
suddenly
water on Xiao
changed.
Chen.
In the past,
You don't need to be
he
so
thought that she
arrogant.
was a super greedy girl.
If you had fought with that
It was
heretical
reasonable to
cultivator
say
from
that if
before,
such a
you
thing
wouldn't
happened,
have been a match for him.
especially after he showed some
Oh.
abilities in front of Fat Bear
Xiao
and
Chen
Xia
said,
Kenjun.
in other
the
words,
first thing she
I
would
caught
think of
him
was
off
to
guard.
use this kind of thing to blame
That's
him,
right.
and then ask him to support
You
her
have
in
the
future.
advantage of surprise.
However, this
Evil
didn't happen.
cultivators are much stronger
This
than
made
martial
Xiao Chen have a
cultivators
new
and devil
understanding of Lu
cultivators.
Shuangshuang. Although they can't
Even
be
if she was
compared
the
to
one who tricked him into
cultivators,
coming
there is
here
still a
and was
huge
used
gap
without
between
knowing
you
it.
and them. And if she didn't have the strength,
You have just broken
she would have
through to
almost
the
died.
8th stage of the refinement stage.
However, while
He
your
had done that
opponent
to
is a
her.
famous evil cultivator
In
who has
Xiao
reached
Chen's
the peak of the
opinion,
10th
this
stage
matter
of the
was
inner
more or
force
less
stage.
even.
He is
You.
only one step away
Can
from
you tell me
becoming a
what's
martial
going on?
artist. Xiao
The
Chen
Elder
still
Heaven
couldn't
Ancestor
understand
said,
how Lu
it was not
Shuangshuang
easy
provoked
for you
such
to
a
beat him to
powerful
such
evil
a practitioner.
state. He can
Moreover,
only blame
why
himself
did she
for
have to
being
pretend to
careless.
have sex with other men in front of this evil practitioner?
By the way,
AI.
Elder Heaven Ancestor,
Lu Shuangshuang
what is the
couldn't
realm
help
above the
but
martial
sigh after
artist who has
listening.
reached the peak of the 10th
Then
stage
she
of the
suddenly
inner force
realized
stage?
that she was only wearing a
Xiao
pajamas,
Chen had
and
never
Xiao
known the
Chen
realm
was
above
naked.
it. In
She
his
suddenly
previous
blushed
view,
and said,
the peak of
"Let's
the
go to
10th
bed and
stage of the
talk."
inner force stage was
You
the
can put
highest
on
realm he
clothes
knew.
or cover yourself with a quilt.
There should be no
You
one
took
in
off my
summoning city
clothes.
who could surpass this realm.
Why?
At
Are
that
you shy
time,
now?
it would be an extravagant
Xiao
hope for
Chen looked
Xiao
at Lu
Chen to
Shuangshuang's
possess
inner
small
strength.
face that was as red as a small
Naturally,
apple and
he
couldn't
wouldn't help but
research
tease
some
her.
unrealistic higher
At
level
that
because it
time,
would be meaningless.
I couldn't do anything.
Even if he did research it,
I already
it wouldn't
said
be of any
sorry.
help to his own cultivation.
Lu Shuangshuang was a little
But now,
apologetic.
Xiao
I
Chen
didn't
could
expect
easily
that he could
injure the
suddenly
evil
come in and
cultivator
hurt
who had
people.
reached the peak of the 10th
But,
stage of the
Xiao
inner
Chen,
force stage.
why
Why
are
are
you
you so powerful? The gap between them was
He is an
really
evil
emotional.
practitioner
with inner force
The
stage
realm
10.
above
the 10th stage of the
You
inner force
actually beat him
stage is
away.
called martial master.
Isn't your strength even
Martial
higher?
artists cultivate inner
Why
force,
didn't I know before?
while martial masters cultivate
Keep
inner
my
force.
strength a secret for me.
Inner force
force is
Don't
stored
go
in
out
the
and
body
talk
and
about
can
it,
be incessantly
Xiao Chen
stimulated.
reminded.
Not many people know
Compared
about
to
it
inner
at present.
force, it has more power.
I don't want to spread it. Inner force is just
Ah.
an explosive force.
Oh, okay.
The peak of the 10th stage
Lu
of the inner force
Shuang nodded
stage is
quickly.
equivalent to
Then,
10 times the limit of a
between
normal
me
person,
and you
but it
should
can
also
only be
keep it a
used for one
secret.
strike. Don't tell
On the
Claire.
other hand, inner force
If she
is
thinks
endless.
that I stole
the
her
elder heaven
boyfriend,
ancestor
she will break up
explained,
with me.
Why do devil cultivators and evil
She's not my
cultivators have an
girlfriend.
advantage over martial cultivators?
Xiao Chen shook his head and said,
This was
but
also
of course
because
I
devil
won't talk
cultivators
nonsense.
and evil cultivators cultivated
Actually,
devil chi
nothing
and
happened
evil
between
chi.
the two of us, right?
They could produce continuous
Hearing
effects,
Xiao Chen's words,
especially when they
Lu
used martial
Shuang's
skills.
expression suddenly changed.
Their martial skills could be
Then,
released for
she
a long
became
time,
a little sad
so
and
the
said,
effect of their
yes,
attack was
it's
naturally
actually
more
nothing.
powerful. Looking
However,
at Lu
the
Shuang's
martial
expression,
skills of martial
Xiao Chen
cultivators
felt a
were
little
more
distressed.
ferocious.
He just
It is
casually
just that
said
this
some
gap becomes
comforting
much
words,
smaller
but
when
he
you
didn't
reach the
expect
martial
Lu
master
Shuang
level
to have
because
such a
the
big
gap
reaction
between martial cultivators and
he
evil
couldn't help but
cultivators
smile
is smaller.
bitterly. If you have any problems in the future,
Xiao
you can
Chen
find me
suddenly
directly.
understood.
I will help you.
So, there is another
But
level
don't
above
look for a
martial
boyfriend
cultivators,
anymore.
and that is martial
If
masters.
you need to fake one, find me
This
directly.
was a level that he had never known before.
Lu
Then when I reached
Shuang
the
was
peak of the
stunned for a
10th
moment.
stage of the Qi refining realm, does it still have strength?
Yes, the level above the 10th stage of the Qi refining realm is called the foundation building realm. However, it is different from the martial master level. Martial masters are divided into the first stage of the inner force stage to the 10th stage. Of course, when martial masters talk about strength, devil cultivators and evil cultivators will also use the term inner force. The elder heaven ancestor said, as for your level, it is divided into the early stage of the foundation building realm, the peak of the foundation building realm, the middle stage of the foundation building realm, all the way to the peak of the foundation building realm, these 7 levels. But when you reach the foundation building realm, you will find that when you can refine flying swords and use some magic tools and talismans, you will have an absolute advantage over martial masters, and the fight will not be so difficult. It seems that I have to work hard. Xiao Chen was fascinated by the elder heaven ancestor's words. It seems that the foundation building realm is the most powerful existence. My current advantage is nothing compared to the foundation building realm. Hard work, but not everyone can reach the foundation building realm. The elder heaven ancestor's words made Xiao Chen immediately calm down. Some cultivators are unable to reach the foundation building realm in their entire life. Unless they take some special pills to help them reach the foundation building realm, such as the foundation building pill, or the foundation building pill. But don't say that you are not an alchemist. Even if you are, there are no materials for you to refine pills. But with the current thinness of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, whether you can reach the peak of the 10th stage of the Qi refining realm is a problem. Foundation building realm, you are thinking too much. Damn, so you are saying that I might stagnate, and at that time, any martial artist can kill me? Xiao Chen was stunned, a little depressed. When you are at the peak of the Qi refining realm, you might be able to fight against a martial artist at the first stage of the Qi refining realm. I haven't tested it before, because I leveled up too quickly. The elder heaven ancestor said with some pride. Oh, is it faster than me? Xiao Chen asked. The elder heaven ancestor was speechless. After a while, he said 2 words, no. Ha 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 ha, then I still have a chance to reach the foundation building realm. Xiao Chen was very optimistic. I actually didn't use too much time to break through. Be careful, extreme joy turns to sorrow. The elder heaven ancestor said. You are jealous. Xiao Chen said. The elder heaven ancestor. The West Mountain old pervert fled from the resort. He had never expected that with his current strength, he would be injured by someone in the secular world. Furthermore, he was injured by a fiendish cultivator. He was very surprised. Who was this Xiao Chen? Could it be that he was a disciple of a great devil sect who came to the secular world to gain experience? But why was he together with Lu Shuang? There was no intersection at all. Could it be that the devil sect disciple also discovered Lu Shuang's strange physique and wanted to dual cultivate with her? After thinking about it, this was the only possibility. Although the devil sect also had dual cultivation techniques, they did not force it. Generally, it was voluntary Tao companions. Unlike evil cultivators, they usually used coercion and use. Of course, even if it was coercion and temptation, the other party had to agree and be willing. Otherwise, if the other party did not cultivate the heart technique, they would not be able to be cultivated into a furnace. The Western Mountain lewd old man dragged along his heavy injuries. Fortunately,
he had already chosen his escape route and temporary lodging location. With his current injuries, it was impossible for him to back out of Western Demon Mountain. He wouldn't be able to last that long. This temporary place to live was something he planned to do after dealing with Lu Shuangshuang, but he did not expect that he would have to live here. Even though he was injured, the old pervert still ran all the way to the front of a very shabby rental house and knocked on the door. "Who is it?" A hoarse man's voice came from inside. Then, the door opened with a squeak, and a thin man with sunken eyes came out. Although he should only be around 20 years old, he looked very wretched. He was thin and small, a bit like a pervert from an H cartoon. "Little Biao, how have you been these years?" the old pervert asked. You are master?" The old pervert? The person who opened the door was Sunabayo. He did not expect that the old pervert would appear again after disappearing for so long. "Looking at your appearance, your cultivation level is not low. You should have the strength of a 7th level evil cultivator, right? It's really not low. You must have had a fortuitous encounter in these years?" The old pervert looked at Sunabayo and said. "Hee, I had a little fortuitous encounter. I found a job to clean the toilets of an elementary school. But later, someone found out that I secretly used a bottle to collect urine, so I was fired." Sunabayo said gloomily, "In that year, my cultivation improved the fastest. Okay, let's not talk about this. Let Master go in quickly. Master is injured and needs to rest here for a while." The old pervert waved his hand and said. "Ah. Master, what level of strength do you have? How did you get injured?" Sunabayo was stunned and asked quickly. "I have the strength of the peak of the 10th level, but the opponent was not weak. I think he should also be a 10th level evil cultivator. He seriously injured me with one palm." The old pervert explained. "It can't be. Master, you went to the toilet and got caught by someone? But, there actually happened to be such a powerful evil cultivator?" Sunabayo was a little surprised. All these years, he had been hiding himself. He did not dare to force those girls, nor did he dare to secretly keep them for cultivation. He understood that evil cultivators should not be seen in the light. Those evil cultivators and martial cultivators all wanted to kill them. Chapter 437. However, all these years, he had never met a devil cultivator or a martial cultivator, so he gradually became a bit careless. He also became a bit more daring and dared to commit crimes against the wind. But now that he heard Shishan old pervert say this, he was scared to death. "Don't mention it, I wanted to cultivate a good furnace. I didn't expect her boyfriend to be a devil cultivator. He's really powerful, he almost killed me." Shishan old pervert said gloomily. "So it's like that." Sunabayo was a bit afraid. Luckily, he didn't dare to do such a thing. He would always change places after every shot and didn't dare to say anything to anyone. "Alright, let's not talk about it anymore. Let me rest and heal for a while. I'll give you some pointers on your cultivation. When I'm better, I'll bring you to find a way to quickly break through," Shishan old pervert said. He originally thought that he could use Lu Shuangshuang to break through this time. A woman with this kind of physique would be able to help him successfully break through to the martial master realm for the first time. But now, all of this had turned into a bubble. If he relied on himself, he didn't know when he would be able to break through. The duck that was in his hands flew away. This made him extremely angry. Originally, he was confident that he could control Lu Shuangshuang. If he had known earlier, he would have been stronger. It would have been better than now. He originally wanted to make long-term plans and make Lu Shuangshuang follow him willingly. Then, she would cultivate the mantra and become a furnace. But now, it was useless. Even if Lu Shuangshuang cultivated into a furnace, it would only be effective on the first person she had a relationship with. It would have no effect on him. After a night of silence, Lu Shuangshuang slept very soundly. Xiao Chen couldn't help but admire this girl's nerves. She was actually able to sleep like this. Previously, it was the evil cultivator's attack, then it was an accidental injury. After stretching, Xiao Chen laid down beside Lu Shuangshuang. Using the morning light, he looked at her side profile. She was very beautiful. Lu Shuangshuang belonged to the kind of girl who didn't dress up much, but her body was filled with a kind of spiritual energy. Or perhaps, this was related to her physique. Lu Shuangshuang's skin was very good and her eyelashes were very long. If she dressed up, she would be a rare beauty. However, Lu Shuangshuang didn't seem to care about these things. She was curled up in the quilt with a smile on her face. No one knew what she was dreaming about. In fact, Lu Shuangshuang was really having a beautiful dream. She dreamed that Xiao Chen married her, and then she moved into a big house with her grandmother, living a happy life. Early in the morning, a ray of sunlight shone in. Lu Shuangshuang woke up. Thinking back to her dream, she couldn't help but shake her head. A mistress wanted to become a regular employee? There were still 2 people waiting in line in front of her. She really fantasized too much. Hey, you're not asleep? When Lu Shuangshuang saw that Xiao Chen's eyes were open, she couldn't help but be stunned. You've been guarding me all night? Xiao Chen wasn't guarding at all. He was just cultivating. You are so good to me. Lu Shuangshuang was a little happy. Seeing that you treat me so well, I won't look for a boyfriend. They definitely won't treat me as well as you. How was your sleep? Xiao Chen changed the topic. It's pretty good. I feel quite safe. Also, the problem of evil cultivation that has been bothering me has been solved. I feel so happy. Lu Shuangshuang skipped to the bathroom to wash up. Xiao Chen felt that this girl was really energetic. After Lu Shuangshuang finished washing up, the 2 went downstairs to the restaurant together for breakfast. Lu Shuangshuang followed behind Xiao Chen like a little wife. Her eyes were filled with sweetness. Her whole eyes were on Xiao Chen. No one knew what happened last night except for the people in the hotel. The lobby manager had been waiting for Xiao Chen in the restaurant for a long time. When he saw them coming in, he quickly came over and said, "You two, in order to express my apology for last night, I specially asked the restaurant to add a dish. I stewed turtle for you. It's very nourishing. I hope you two won't talk nonsense after you leave. Hee hee, don't worry. I'm not that bored." Xiao Chen nodded. In fact, he had no intention of blackmailing the resort. After all, the evil cultivator was seeking revenge on Lu Shuangshuang. He was angry yesterday because the lobby manager didn't know what was right and what was wrong. Now, seeing that he was being so careful, he didn't make things difficult for him. He walked into the restaurant with Lu Shuangshuang and found a seat. After a while, a waiter brought over a pot of stewed turtle. Lu Shuangshuang had never eaten something so expensive before. Although she made a lot of money from selling binoculars, she had saved all her money to buy medicine for her grandmother. She didn't have any money for herself. It's delicious. Lu Shuangshuang ate a piece of turtle. She thought it was a little scary, but it was delicious. Seeing that Xiao Chen didn't eat, Lu Shuangshuang quickly said, "Xiao Chen, do you want to eat too? I have more opportunities to eat. I'm already tired of it." Xiao Chen smiled. When he was just chased out of the family, he really couldn't eat anything. But later, there were more people who treated him, and he had more money in his hands. He didn't have that feeling anymore. Then, I won't stand on ceremony. Lu Shuangshuang began to eat. Lu Zhenming also came to the restaurant with Fat Bear. He saw that there were turtles on Xiao Chen's table, but there were no turtles in the buffet area. He was a little puzzled. Am I late? There's no more? After thinking about it, Lu Zhenming waved to the lobby manager who hadn't left yet. There's no more turtles? Why didn't I see it? Ugh, sir, that turtle is a special dish for them. There are no turtles in the buffet area. The lobby manager explained. Then what if I want to eat it too? Lu Zhenming asked, "Make one for me." I'm sorry, there's no ordering service during breakfast time. The lobby manager said. Motherf asterisk Kerr. This is our brother Lu. Don't you have good eyesight? Don't you know who is in charge of the underworld in Songning City? The boss of your Jiduan city is also a slave of the Lu family. Fat Bear was angry. He slammed the table and shouted. Ugh. The lobby manager's face turned green. He quickly said, okay, I will prepare it immediately. I'm sorry, Motherf asterisk Kerr, brother Lu, this kind of person bullies the weak and fears the strong. What kind of joke is this? Fat Bear said angrily. Okay, don't let boss Xiao Chen hear it. You are so noisy. What if you affect the boss's meal? Do you want to die? Lu Zhenming glared at him. Fat Bear shrank his neck and didn't dare to speak casually. Lu Shuangshuang was eating the turtle, but she suddenly put down her chopsticks. Xiao Chen wondered, why don't you eat? Are you full? No. I want to pack it and let my grandmother taste it. She has never eaten such delicious food. Lu Shuangshuang hesitated and said. Although it might make Xiao Chen feel that she was very shameful, she also had to say that she was a filial girl. If there was delicious food, she naturally wanted to let her grandmother taste it. Hee, you eat it. I will buy some delicious food for her later. Xiao Chen said, actually, you don't have to worry about money in the future, right? You don't have to give money to Elder Shishan. The warrior market has added additional income. You can also take out your previous savings to spend. If it doesn't work, I can still give you some. I don't need it if you give it to me. Indeed, I seem to be very rich. Lu Shuangshuang remembered her savings of more than 800,000 yuan. I wanted to wait until the shanty town was demolished to compensate me with a good house, but now it seems that it won't be long before I can save money to buy one myself. So, you can eat boldly without worry. Xiao Chen smiled. N. Lu Shuangshuang nodded and began to eat again. Not long after, Xiao Chen saw the waiter walking over with another bowl of turtle soup. Xiao Chen couldn't help but feel a little puzzled. He directly extended his hand and called out to the waiter, whose turtle soup is this? Is it ours too? No, it's the customer over there who ordered it. The waiter pointed to Lu Zhenming's side and said. Oh, then you don't have to give it to him. Just pack it up and take it away, said Xiao Chen. Ah. The waiter was stunned. He didn't know how to answer. At this time, the lobby manager saw that the waiter was stopped by Xiao Chen. He quickly walked over and asked, what's wrong? What happened? He was afraid that Xiao Chen would make trouble, so he came to deal with it directly. Manager, these two guests said that they want to pack this turtle and take it away, said the waiter. The lobby manager suddenly broke into a sweat after listening and said, Sir, this turtle is ordered by the customer over there, don't worry about him. Just pack it up for me, said Xiao Chen. This. Sir, the customer over there doesn't have a simple background. I can't afford to provoke them. Moreover, if you take away the turtle, I don't think they will let it go, explained the lobby manager. Oh, I can afford to provoke them. Just pack it up, said Xiao Chen directly. Lu Zhenming saw that his turtle was stopped, and he was a little puzzled. However, because it was stopped by Xiao Chen, he quickly came over and wanted to see what the problem was. Seeing Lu Zhenming coming over, the lobby manager was a little embarrassed and sweating. Young Master Lu, this gentleman wants this turtle, damn. Lu Zhenming said angrily, if he wants it, give it to him quickly. What are you waiting for? Hey. When the lobby manager heard the first half of Lu Zhenming's sentence, he thought that he was angry and wanted to beat up Xiao Chen, but the second half of the sentence made him a little speechless. What does this mean? He wants me to give it to him? Is it true? Or is it sarcasm? Boss Xiao Chen, is one enough? Do you want me to let them stew another one? Asked Lu Zhenming in a flattering manner. No need. It's enough. It's just right. You watch him pack it up for me. Give him the money on the way. I'll go first. As Xiao Chen said this, he stood up with Lu Shuangshuang, who had finished eating. No problem. Lu Zhenming nodded and then turned to the lobby manager. Hurry up and pack it up. Didn't you hear what Boss Xiao Chen said? Other than the spring and autumn outings organized by the school, she had no friends. The only friend she had was Kerlin. In her spare time, she had to help her family sell noodles. How could she have time to go out and play with her? It would be good enough if he could squeeze out a little time to go shopping. It was impossible for him to go out and play. Your first outing? Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he saw how Lu Shuangshuang was so curious and excited that she wanted to take pictures wherever she went. He had been taking pictures of Lu Shuangshuang along the way. Yes, it's my first time. Lu Shuangshuang nodded. In the past, because the students were relatively young, most of the school's spring outings went to the park. She had never been to a place like this. Xiao Chen nodded and cooperated. Anyway, for him, other than being a little boring, climbing the mountain did not require much effort. Everyone went all the way to the scenic area on the mountainside. Everyone looked for a place to rest and take pictures in 2s and 3s. However, Xiao Chen felt a trace of an unusual atmosphere. Lu Shuangshuang took the opportunity to drink water and rest in the resting area. She was an ordinary person. After climbing the mountain and taking pictures, her physical strength had long been overdrawn. At this moment, she definitely needed to rest for a while. On the other hand, Xiao Chen walked towards the scenic area on the mountainside. Although there was a sign that said, "Danger ahead, do not approach," for a cultivator like Xiao Chen, it was completely ignored. Standing at the edge of the mountainside, Xiao Chen looked up at the peak of the mountain and quietly felt it, as expected. A few minutes later, Xiao Chen took a deep breath and gazed into the distance. I can actually sense an extremely strong aura of heaven and earth spiritual qi here. Could it be that there's something with spiritual qi at the top of this mountain? If Xiao Chen could feel it, so could the elder heaven ancestor. Xiao Chen, you also felt it? The aura of heaven and earth here is especially strong. There seems to be something wrong with this mountain. Yes, I can feel it. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth on this mountain seems to be much denser than normal. If one were to cultivate here, it would definitely be stronger than other places. However, there is a limit to how strong it is. Xiao Chen said, after all, compared to spirit jades and supplementary herbs, it is much weaker. There must be something strange on this mountain. However, Elder Sky said, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth here is not naturally formed. I've observed the surroundings for a while. Based on the terrain and position here, it is impossible for such a dense spiritual energy to be produced. There is definitely a problem here. You mean, I should go up and take a look? Xiao Chen suddenly became interested. Yes, but... The elder heaven ancestor suddenly changed the topic and reminded him, the aura of heaven and earth here is very strong. Perhaps it is man-made. If there is someone up there, then you, the elder heaven ancestor didn't finish his sentence, but he believed that Xiao Chen could guess it. If someone could artificially produce such strong aura, then their strength was certainly not low. If Xiao Chen met this person, it would be a disaster, not a blessing. Xiao Chen also fell into deep thought. The elder heaven ancestor's words were right. If there was really an almighty person who could gather the aura of heaven and earth here, then it was really a great ability. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chen asked, right, elder heaven ancestor, is this a formation? Yes, this is a formation. The elder heaven ancestor said, it seems that you are quite smart. However, a formation is absolutely not something you can set up at your level. It is simply a fool's dream for a qi refining stage cultivator to set up a formation. Although I don't know if there are still cultivators here, it is true that the aura of heaven and earth can gather. So, for the sake of caution, I don't recommend you go up now. The qi refining stage is the weakest existence in the cultivation world. In our words, if you haven't reached the foundation building stage, then you haven't even crossed the threshold. Although you can punch and kick martial artists, the fact is that you haven't met other cultivators. Nodding, Xiao Chen was a little silent. He didn't know whether he should go up or not. He had found a magical situation that might be helpful to his cultivation. If he gave up now, he would certainly regret it. Even if he went back, he would think about it day and night. But on the other hand, if he went up, as the elder heaven ancestor said, there might be hidden dangers. While Xiao Chen was thinking, the tour guide behind him shouted, "Student, please don't go near the edge of the scenic area. It is dangerous on the mountain. You'd better come back quickly." Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. He turned around and saw the tour guide waving at him. Xiao Chen suddenly thought of something and walked in the direction of the tour guide. He asked, "Oh, I just felt that the environment and the air up there are good, so I couldn't help but stop for a while. By the way, why is there no development up there? I think that if there is development up there, the scenery will be more beautiful, right? It's not that we don't want to develop up there, but it is abnormally dangerous. This mountain looks like it pierces through the clouds, but it is not. There is a lot of fog around it all year round, and the visibility is very poor. Moreover, there are many ferocious beasts." The tour guide shook his head and said, "I don't know why, but the beasts here are especially strong. Many of them seem harmless, but when they attack people, they are especially strong. Therefore, the resort has only developed up to this point. It is too dangerous up there." Previously, a few workers were attacked by some ordinary wild rabbits and wild roe deer, and they were already badly injured. Don't even mention some wild wolves. So that's how it is. No wonder you were so nervous when I approached. Xiao Chen thought to himself. As expected, this is a place with abundant spiritual energy. If he wasn't wrong, these powerful wild beasts might have grown up in places with abundant heaven and earth spiritual qi all year round. As a result, their physiques had undergone subtle changes, which was why they were so strong. Is there anything interesting up there? Or are they all barren mountains and ridges? There are some ruins of buildings built in ancient times up there, but there is nothing to look at. They are all broken and can't be used at all. Archaeologists have also seen them. Because the preservation is not complete, it is too dilapidated, and there is no archaeological value, so the resort has not been developed. The tour guide explained, therefore, we do not recommend guests to go up. It is too dangerous. Thank you for explaining to me. Xiao Chen smiled. This is what I should do. The tour guide smiled and said, "This is my job, and it is also what I should do." Xiao Chen walked to Lu Shuangshuang's side and sat down. Lu Shuangshuang said, "Where did you go just now? Why did you stand at the edge of the scenic area for so long?" "I was observing to see if Elder Shishan is still nearby," Xiao Chen said casually. "Ah. Is he nearby?" Lu Shuangshuang was shocked. "There shouldn't be." Xiao Chen smiled and said, "It's just a joke. By the way, let's go back early after we finish climbing the mountain. We can visit your grandmother on the way, and then I will treat her. You also give her the turtle to eat. I am afraid that it will not be fresh for a long time." NN. Lu Shuangshuang nodded and said, "Then let's go back after lunch." Everyone in the scenic area was just watching the fun. After a long time, it would be boring. After all, no matter how beautiful the scenery was, it couldn't be eaten. Traveling was just taking pictures and then leaving. Therefore, soon, everyone went down the mountain under the guidance of the tour guide and returned to the resort building. Because it was not yet noon, everyone temporarily rested in the room, waiting for lunchtime. Chapter 439. After returning to the room, Lu Shuangshuang was so tired that she lay on the bed and didn't want to get up. "Lu Shuangshuang, I'm going out." In the end, Xiao Chen couldn't resist the temptation of the natural aura. He planned to go and take a look. At most, he would just run away if there were any abnormalities. Previously, he heard from the tour guide that when the resort developed the mountain scenic area, they did send people to go there. However, apart from encountering some powerful beasts, they didn't encounter any other dangers. Therefore, it shouldn't be a big problem for Xiao Chen to pretend to be a tourist.
"Ah, where are you going?" Lu Shuangshuang asked.
"I'm going to walk around the mountain to see if Elder Shishan really ran away. If he didn't, I will kill him directly," Xiao Chen said.
"Oh, okay, then be careful."
Lu Shuangshuang nodded and reminded him. If Xiao Chen wanted to do something serious, she naturally couldn't stop him. Xiao Chen left the room, went downstairs, and then turned to the back of the resort building. There was no one here now. Not all tourists who came to the resort to play would choose to climb the mountain. After all, there were many other attractions. In this season, the trees on the mountain were bare. No matter how good the scenery was, it couldn't be compared to summer. Seeing that there was no one, Xiao Chen went up the mountain again. When he came to the mountainside, he didn't pay attention to the warning sign in front of him. He directly crossed the fence and quickly went up the mountain. The fog on the mountain was getting thicker and thicker, and the visibility was getting lower and lower. However, Xiao Chen was a cultivator with strong sixth senses. This fog didn't affect him at all. He could easily distinguish the direction and the surrounding environment. Suddenly, Xiao Chen stopped because there was a little movement not far in front of him, which made him raise his vigilance. However, he didn't move, and the movement not far away didn't seem to move either. This made Xiao Chen's head tighten slightly. It seemed that the movement had also noticed him. However, when it came to patience, Xiao Chen was very patient. Not to mention that he was a cultivator, even in the past, more than 10 years of training had cultivated his good patience. If the enemy didn't move, he wouldn't move either. Xiao Chen simply stopped where he was and wanted to see what was going on. If anything went wrong, he would immediately turn around and leave. A woo. Not long after, Ling could no longer bear the sound. It was a wolf. He suddenly pounced in the direction of Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen glanced at the wolf. This wolf was indeed different from other wolves. It seemed to be faster and stronger. However, in front of Xiao Chen, it was not enough. Xiao Chen directly slapped the wolf to the ground. It twitched twice and stopped moving. There's some spiritual energy in this wolf. Although it won't evolve into a spiritual beast, it's much stronger than ordinary beasts. The Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice rang in Xiao Chen's ears. Looks like the spiritual energy here isn't as much as I thought. If it was, this wolf wouldn't be so weak. Then, Xiao Chen was a little hesitant. Let's go up and take a look. There shouldn't be any danger, said the Elder Heaven Ancestor. Only then did Xiao Chen feel at ease. He quickly made his way to the top of the mountain. Along the way, it was just as Elder Tian had said. Although they encountered a few ferocious spirit beasts, they were only against ordinary people. To Xiao Chen, they posed no threat at all. However, when he reached the top of the mountain, Xiao Chen was a little disappointed. As the guide said, there were a few dilapidated pavilions and a large platform similar to a square. However, it had long been ruined. He didn't know what it was used for in ancient times, but now it was beyond recognition. To Xiao Chen's disappointment, while the spiritual energy in the surroundings was indeed dense, it was only average. It was denser than the area halfway up the mountain, but it was far from what Xiao Chen needed for his cultivation. In other words, if Xiao Chen came here to cultivate, his speed would be faster, but not by much. Now, Xiao Chen mainly relied on spiritual jades, medicinal herbs, and dual cultivation to improve his strength. On top of the mountain, Xiao Chen had a clear view of the mountain range, but he didn't find anything special. Something's not right. The Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice sounded, although the spiritual energy is not as much as I thought, it doesn't make sense. Oh? What do you mean? Xiao Chen asked. In other words, along the way, the situation here is very ordinary, there is nothing special, but it can gather spiritual energy, which is a bit unreasonable. Elder Sky said, it's impossible for the spiritual chi of heaven and earth to be so much more than in other places. This is not a deep mountain forest, nor is it a paradise, but the spiritual chi of heaven and earth is so much. There must be a reason for it. Then, what should I do now? Xiao Chen asked hesitantly. The elder heaven ancestor said, you walk around, I'll take a look. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded and began to run around the mountain range. Half an hour later, he even went around to the other side of the mountain range, then ran back and forth a few places, then asked, Elder Heaven Ancestor, how is it? Very strange. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said, the density of the spiritual energy here is completely inconsistent with the environment, but I haven't found anything wrong with it. Let's go back first, I'll think about it. Okay. Xiao Chen did not continue to investigate. Even the Elder Heaven Ancestor did not know, he would not know, so he simply stopped thinking about it. When Xiao Chen returned to his room, it was time for lunch. Lu Shuangshuang saw Xiao Chen coming back, so she asked, how is it, Xiao Chen, did you find anything? No, he should have run away, but be careful when you go back. If you find traces of Elder Shishan, you must call me immediately, Xiao Chen said. Well, don't worry, I know. Lu Shuangshuang nodded. Xiao Chen was just saying, in fact, he was not particularly worried. He knew the power of the palm he used on Elder Shishan. Even an evil cultivator at the peak of the 10th stage of internal strength would suffer. It would be impossible for him to recover without a few months. Therefore, even if Elder Shishan wanted to cause trouble again, it would be a long time later. Moreover, Elder Shishan had to consider whether or not to go against him. Generally speaking, evil cultivators were a group that could not see the light of day. If the strength of martial cultivators and demonic cultivators was much lower than them, they would dare to be arrogant. If the strength was similar, they would not be able to dodge in time. After eating at the resort, Xiao Chen drove back with Lu Shuangshuang. When they left, Xiao Chen looked at the mountains behind the resort again. There was spiritual energy here, but he could not figure out the reason. It was a pity. However, Xiao Chen could not stay here and waste time studying the mountains. If he had the time, it would be better to find Yi Xiaoya for dual cultivation. The speed of dual cultivation was much faster than this little bit of spiritual energy. The car drove to the shanty town again. Lu Shuangshuang could not help but feel a little emotional. Originally, she wanted Xiao Chen to pretend to be her boyfriend, but she did not expect. When they were near the door, Lu Shuangshuang was a little nervous. Xiao Chen, when you see my grandma later, just say that you are my friend. Don't mention our relationship. Okay, up to you. When the time comes, you can introduce me. I will recognize you. Xiao Chen said indifferently. Lu Shuangshuang nodded, then pointed to a dilapidated house not far away and said, that is my home. How about you don't park the car in front of the door, it's too conspicuous. Huh? Xiao Chen was a little surprised. He looked at Lu Shuangshuang as if he did not know her. Don't you like vanity? Why don't you show off? Who likes vanity? Lu Shuangshuang did not know whether to laugh or cry. Wasn't I doing it on purpose? I wanted you to think that I went to show off to Fat Bear. Do you think a vain girl will sell binoculars every day? Xiao Chen said. It seems that I still wronged Lu Shuangshuang. I'm really greedy because I want to collect the 1 million for Elder Shishan as soon as possible. Vanity or whatever, it's just that. Lu Shuangshuang smiled indifferently. But you can do whatever you want. The car is not mine anyway. Xiao Chen shook his head, parked the car nearby, and got off with Lu Shuangshuang. However, when they parked, they were still seen by the people in shanty town. Lu Shuangshuang, this is. Don't tell me you have a boyfriend? An auntie in her 50s happened to pass by here. After seeing Lu Shuangshuang, she asked directly. Ah, it's Auntie Wang. This is a friend of mine. We attended a class reunion together. He sent me home on the way. Lu Shuangshuang explained. Oh. Auntie Wang smiled meaningfully and left, making Lu Shuangshuang very embarrassed. Xiao Chen didn't say anything. He just nodded casually. Then the two of them came to the front of the relatively dilapidated bungalow. Lu Shuangshuang opened the door with the key and let Xiao Chen go in first. She closed the door and locked it behind him. You are very careful. You lock the door when you go in and out. Xiao Chen glanced at Lu Shuangshuang. It seems that this girl who looks a little crazy is a very careful person. Of course, my grandmother is sick in bed alone. I'm not at home. What if bad people come? Lu Shuangshuang said. Aren't you afraid that something will happen to your grandmother at home? Asked Xiao Chen. I equipped an emergency pager on her bed. She can dial my phone with one button. If there is a problem, I will know immediately. Lu Shuangshuang said, Come in. As Lu Shuangshuang spoke, she opened the door of the house. Squeak, the door opened. There was a damp and moldy smell inside, but overall, it was very clean. The furniture in the room was clear at a glance. When the door opened, there was a stove in sight. Opposite the stove was a house. An old man was lying on a big bed in the house. When he heard the door open, he said, Shuangshuang, you are back? Why are you so early? Didn't you go to the class reunion? Chapter 440. Grandma, I'm back. I've brought you delicious food. Lu Shuangshuang happily ran to her grandma's bed with the turtle soup in her hand. Grandma, wait for me. I'll heat it up for you. Ah, it's not good for you to pack food for your classmates' reunion. Although Grandma knew that Lu Shuangshuang was being filial, Lu Shuangshuang's actions would embarrass her. Grandma didn't want her to be looked down upon. No, it's me, my classmate ordered a separate portion for me. Lu Shuangshuang quickly said. At this time, Xiao Chen also walked in. She introduced Lu Shuangshuang to her grandma. Grandma, this is my classmate Xiao Chen. He's here to see you. Hello Grandma, I'm Xiao Chen. I'm Shuangshuang's classmate, Xiao Chen said quickly. Ah, Shuangshuang, you have a guest. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Look, I'm still mumbling a lot. How bad is that? Lu Shuangshuang's grandma was a little embarrassed. She said to Xiao Chen, Young man, you're Shuangshuang's classmate. Please sit down, you're welcome. Xiao Chen sat on the stool beside the bed. The furniture in Lu Shuangshuang's house was simple, and there was no place to sit. However, Xiao Chen didn't care. Grandma, how's your illness? I know some medical skills. Can I take a look at you? Ah, you know medical skills too? Okay, take a look at me. It's an old problem of mine. It's been like this for a long time. Sigh, it's a waste of money and a burden to Shuangshuang. Otherwise, she would still be in school like you, right? Grandma Lu muttered and felt sorry for herself. If you ask me, I'd rather have died a long time ago. But Shuangshuang is a filial child. Grandma, you can't say that. Shuangshuang and you depend on each other. You're her spiritual support. If something happens to you, what will she do? Xiao Chen knew that Lu Shuangshuang cared about her grandma very much. Otherwise, she wouldn't have agreed to the evil practitioner's conditions. And don't worry, I'll try my best to treat you. As he spoke, Xiao Chen held Grandma Lu's wrist and checked her pulse to check the condition of her body. But after checking, Xiao Chen frowned. Lu Shuangshuang's pulse was very chaotic, and the inside of her body was also extremely poor. It could be said to be a mess. Many of her organs were no longer working, but her life was completely hanging on by something, which was why she didn't die. However, it also showed that the medicine made by the evil practitioner was useful. He also had some research in medicine, and he could use a special method to prolong people's lives. To put it bluntly, it was actually similar to Western medicine, which used a ventilator to keep people alive in the ICU ward. However, this kind of problem was not a problem for Xiao Chen at all. As long as he used the dregs of the medicine, Grandma Lu would be able to stand up again like a normal person, and the impurities in her body would be excreted, so that her organs would be rejuvenated. There was no major problem in her body. It was just the deposition of toxins and the deterioration of her body functions, which was relatively easy to cure. Thinking of this, Xiaochen said, "Grandma Lu, your problem is actually not a big deal. I can make you stand up again with a radiant face, and then prolong your life. You won't be a burden to Lu Shuangshuang anymore." At this time, Lu Shuangshuang just walked into the house with the stewed turtle. When she heard the second half of Xiao Chen's words, she immediately frowned. "Xiao Chen, when did I say that my grandma would be a burden to me? Don't talk nonsense. Shuangshuang, how can you talk to a guest like this?" Grandma Lu glared at her and said, "What Xiao Chen means is that he can cure my disease and make me like a normal person, so that I won't be a burden to you. Why can't you listen to him?" Ah. Lu Shuangshuang suddenly felt a little embarrassed, but she was surprised and happy. She looked at Xiao Chen and asked incredulously, "Really? You can cure my grandma's disease? Well, wait for me. I'll be back soon." Xiao Chen stood up. There was no time to lose. Originally, he wanted to use the dregs, but after thinking about it, Grandma Lu's body was too weak, and he was afraid that the dregs wouldn't be able to bear it. Therefore, he planned to prepare some low-end medicinal materials alone. Otherwise, Lu Shuangshuang's grandma wouldn't be able to move after taking the medicine. She wouldn't be able to absorb the medicine, and it would be even more harmful if it stayed in her body. Ah, there's no hurry. Although Lu Shuangshuang wanted her grandma to recover, Xiao Chen had been tossing and turning for a day and a night. He should rest. In particular, he watched her sleep last night. He hadn't slept yet. Thinking of this, Lu Shuangshuang's face turned red. "It's okay. Let Grandma drink the soup first. I'll be back soon," Xiao Chen said. After leaving Lu Shuangshuang's house and getting into the car, Xiao Chen said to Elder Heaven Ancestor, "Elder Heaven Ancestor, prepare the medicine." Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Xiao Chen was speechless. "Not only do I have to care about your daily life, but I also have to help you pick up girls?" Elder Heaven Ancestor snorted. "Other people's masters are only in charge of cultivation. Isn't this also cultivation? If I get Lu Shuangshuang, I can improve my cultivation, right?" Xiao Chen asked shamelessly. "You win." Elder Heaven Ancestor sent 2 prescriptions to Xiao Chen's mind and said, "One is for Grandma Lu Shuangshuang, and the other is for you to cultivate." Only then did Xiao Chen remember that he had broken through and needed to change the medicine. He drove the car in the direction of Little Hong's pharmacy. "You're here," Hong Zhu said listlessly when he saw Xiao Chen. "What's wrong with you? You don't look like you slept well." Xiao Chen was slightly stunned and asked. "It's not that I didn't sleep well." "Why did you call me yesterday?" Hong Zhu complained. "I woke up and couldn't sleep again. I'm so angry." "Ah, sorry, I didn't think too much about it." Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and apologized. "Forget it, why did you call me here? Didn't I give you a lot of medicine last time? Did you use them all?" Hong Zhu and Xiao Chen's relationship was good now, so there was no need for Xiao Chen to buy medicine again and again every 3 days. Hong Zhu had given him a few packets last time, enough for him to use for a while. "No, I need to change the medicine. I didn't use all the medicine last time. I'll bring it back for you," Xiao Chen said, picked up a pen and paper on the counter, wrote down 2 prescriptions, and then handed them to Hong Zhu. "I want one for this, and a few more for this." "Oh." Hong Zhu glanced at the prescriptions. The first one was very ordinary and she could easily make it, but the second one surprised her slightly. "What is this? Devilstock fruit? I don't have it here." "You don't have it?" Xiao Chen was slightly surprised. He had originally thought that Hong Zhu would be able to obtain any medicine as long as he could name it. After all, the title of the little princess of the Hong Chamber of Commerce was not something that she had casually obtained. Previously, the Shen family's rare medicine had been obtained by her, so there was actually something that she didn't have? And, actually, the devil stalk fruit is not a very precious medicine. However, this fruit must be used within 24 hours of being picked, or it will lose its medicinal effect. I definitely don't have it here, so I can't help you import it. If I send it here, it will basically expire, Hongzhu explained. So that's how it is. Xiao Chen was a little disappointed. Then, can I plant this devil stalk fruit myself? You should be able to, but it's already winter, so it's not easy to cultivate the seeds. If you need it, I can only help you cultivate some seeds next spring and you can plant them here, Hongzhu said. Next spring. Xiao Chen couldn't help but frown. Didn't that mean that he wouldn't have any medicine for a while? Wouldn't his cultivation speed become even slower? How about this, I'll help you prepare a few packets of medicine that don't have the devil stalk fruit. If you can obtain some devil stalk fruit, you can add them yourself. Hongzhu paused for a moment before continuing, I can only help you this much. It's possible that I will have to leave soon. Leave? Xiao Chen was shocked. Where are you going? At most, I can stay here until the end of the year. It won't be long before the new year comes, so I have to return home to report on my work. Hongzhu said. After that, at the start of spring next year, I will be returning to the sect. My little sister, Hong Yan, will be coming back. When that time comes, you can look for her if you need anything. Then, will you still be coming back? Xiao Chen suddenly realized that he was a little reluctant to part with Hongzhu. Although they hadn't known each other for a long time, they seemed to have experienced many things together. From the first time they met, to gradually familiarizing themselves with each other and doing business together. Now that she suddenly said that she was going to leave, Xiao Chen felt a little uncomfortable. I don't know, I probably won't, right? After all, this is only a branch of the Hong Chamber of Commerce. I can't stay here forever. I will either return to the sect or return to the headquarters. But if you want to find me, you can call me on my cell phone. Hongzhu said with a smile. With a cell phone, everything has become a global village. All right. Xiao Chen nodded, but there was a trace of reluctance in his heart. It was an indescribable feeling, but he just didn't want Hongzhu to leave him. All right, this is all I have. If you have nothing to do, can you help me look after the shop for a while? I'm going to sleep for a while. Hongzhu said. Then you can close the shop, I'll be leaving first. Xiao Chen still had to return to Lu Shuangshuang's home, so how could he help Hongzhu look after the shop? Alright, then just help me pull down the iron fence outside the shop. There's no need to lock it, so others will know that it's closed, Hongzhu said while yawning. Xiao Chen said goodbye to Hongzhu and returned to the shanty town where Lu Shuangshuang's home was. His heart was a little heavy, but life was just a matter of meeting and parting. He couldn't change the lives of others, so he could only try to change his own life. Xiao Chen, you're back. Lu Shuangshuang didn't expect that Xiao Chen would come back so soon. She had just served her grandmother dinner and was preparing to brew medicine for her. She was cleaning the electric clay pot. You don't need to brew your medicine, just brew this medicine. Xiao Chen told Lu Shuangshuang the medicinal ingredients that Grandma Lu had prepared. 2.5 hours. Chapter 441. Okay. Lu Shuangshuang took it and put it into the electric clay pot. Then, she set the time to cook it. Looking at Lu Shuangshuang squatting in front of the electric clay pot and being careful, Xiao Chen's impression of her changed again. Lu Shuangshuang was not a gold digger at all. What he saw before was just a facade. In fact, Lu Shuangshuang was a very filial girl. She was a gold digger, but she used it to deceive Fat Bear. Now, she was a filial and ordinary girl, running around for the sake of her family's life. Okay. Are you going to eat here tonight? What do you want to eat? I'll go buy groceries, said Lu Shuangshuang. There's no need to buy anything. Just make whatever you have. Xiao Chen said, let me do it. After your grandma takes the medicine,
her body will secrete a lot of black substances. You need to help her bathe, so leave these things to me. You can cook. Lu Shuang's eyes widened in surprise. Why? Didn't Kerlin tell you that I used to sell breakfast on the morning market? Xiao Chen looked at Lu Shuang strangely. Ah. You sold breakfast? Really? Lu Shuang didn't quite believe it. Are you joking with me? Her family's noodle stall used to be the place where I sold fried dough sticks. Do you think I'm joking? Said Xiao Chen. Pfft. Aren't you a rich young master? Lu Shuang looked at Xiao Chen in shock. You are a powerful warrior, and you drive such a good car. Lu Zhenming is your underling. You sold fried dough sticks. It's my hobby, okay? It was difficult for Xiao Chen to explain these things. He could only say it with a dumbfounded expression. Okay. Lu Shuang grinned. She didn't quite believe it. Suddenly, she rolled her eyes and said, Huh? Do you like Kerlin, so you sold fried dough sticks to get close to her and pursue her? No, my girlfriend and I sold fried dough sticks there. Xiao Chen shook his head. But she later returned to her family and married someone she didn't like. So tragic. Then you didn't kill her family and the family of the man who married her? Lu Shuang's eyes widened. Oh, no. That man is my little brother. Pretend to marry him and cover for me, Xiao Chen said. It's a little confusing. Wait a minute, let me sort it out. Lu Shuang was a little confused. Your girlfriend, why didn't she marry you? Why did she marry your little brother? Is her family sick? Actually, other people don't know my strength. Only a few people know, such as you and that little brother of mine. But even Lu Zhenming doesn't know. Xiao Chen said, my identity on the surface is actually a useless young master who was kicked out of the Xiao family. Have you heard of it? Ah. Lu Shuang suddenly stood up and pointed at Xiao Chen. With a look of disbelief, she shouted, I remember now. You are from the Xiao family, the Xiao Chen who was kicked out of the family and had his fiancée break off the engagement. It's actually you. Damn, even if it's me, you don't have to make such a fuss, right? Xiao Chen looked at the shocked Lu Shuang and was a little embarrassed. It's really embarrassing. Even you know. I didn't want to say it, no. During those few days, the Warrior Guild and the Warriors Market Square were all talking about this matter. That's when I knew. Lu Shuang said, but what I want to say is, brother, what are you doing? You told your family that you are very powerful, and then you told your girlfriend's family that you are also very powerful. Do you think they will let you go? The situation is a little complicated. I have enemies. I need to investigate in secret. Xiao Chen said, so, you also help me keep it a secret. Don't tell anyone. Oh, so complicated. Lu Shuang nodded after listening. No wonder. Don't worry. I won't say anything. Xiao Chen nodded. Now you know why I sell fried dough sticks, right? Isn't it because of your girlfriend? Lu Shuang asked. Xiao Chen rolled his eyes. Because I was just kicked out of my family. I have no money, huh, okay. Lu Shuang smiled and said, hey, do I know the most about you? No, my girlfriend also knows a lot, said Xiao Chen. Huh, then am I also your girlfriend? Lu Shuang looked at Xiao Chen with a smile, but when she saw Xiao Chen's face was a little black, she changed her words. I am a mistress. I won't let you be responsible. What are you afraid of? You are the one who has to restrict me so much. Hee hee. Xiao Chen didn't know how to respond to Lu Shuang's words. Unknowingly, Xiao Chen's heart gradually accepted Lu Shuang's existence. Although he couldn't say that he liked her, at least he didn't hate her as much as before. After the medicinal ingredients were decocted properly, Lu Shuang went to feed her grandmother the medicine. Meanwhile, Xiao Chen busied himself in front of the stove.
Ping ping pang pang, he began to prepare dinner. Lu Shuangshuang's house didn't have much food. There were only some autumn vegetables and frozen meat. With Lu Shuangshuang's family's conditions, it was already very good to have some frozen meat. However, these ingredients didn't matter. For Xiao Chen, even rotten vegetables could be cooked into delicious dishes. As long as he injected vitality into it, anything would be delicious. So even if Lu Shuangshuang didn't have many seasonings and ingredients, after the meal was cooked, the fragrance was still overflowing. Lu Shuangshuang just finished bathing her grandmother and wiped her body. When she smelled the fragrance of the food, she immediately drooled. At noon at the resort, the food was delicious. There were also many delicacies. Lu Shuangshuang ate until she was full. What she didn't expect was that just a few potatoes, cabbage, and fat slices could actually have such a fragrance. Shuangshuang, what is so fragrant? Grandma Lu was covered in stains. Although she had just finished eating, she was hungry again. She subconsciously sat up and said, Grandma, you can actually sit up. Lu Shuangshuang looked at her grandmother in surprise. You can move? Ah. Grandma Lu was also a little surprised. I can actually feel my waist? I can sit up. Previously, her brain just subconsciously issued a command. She didn't expect to get a response, but she didn't expect that she could really sit up. Lu Shuangshuang looked at Xiao Chen, who was carrying the dishes to the table in the room, in horror. Is Xiao Chen's medicine so effective? However, thinking about it, I was exposed by him yesterday and cured. This kind of magical medical skill is probably not surprising. Grandma, then try to see if you can move your hands and feet? Lu Shuangshuang said quickly. I can. Grandma Lu subconsciously moved her hands and feet. When she found that she could feel them, she was very happy. She wanted to try to get off the ground and walk, but Xiao Chen was shocked. Lu Shuangshuang, hurry up and let your grandma lie down. Don't get off the ground. Now her muscles and bones have not recovered. Don't get off the ground for the time being. Do some rehabilitation training on the bed before walking off the ground. Otherwise, it may have the opposite effect. Xiao Chen quickly dissuaded. Okay, Grandma, then don't move around. Lu Shuangshuang was shocked. She quickly held her grandma and didn't let her get off the bed. Okay, I'll listen to Dr. Xiao Chen. Grandma Lu was very excited. She never thought that she would have a day where she could move freely at such an old age. However, she didn't expect that it would be realized in just one afternoon. Lu Shuangshuang's classmate was really amazing. Xiao Chen, you study medicine, right? Why are you so amazing? No, it's just a hobby. Xiao Chen said, Okay, Grandma Lu, eat something. Try my cooking. There's no need to taste it. It's so fragrant that it made me sit up. It's obviously delicious. Grandma Lu said with a smile, Xiao Chen, I didn't expect your medical skills to be so good. Your cooking skills are also good. Shuangshuang, you have to learn more from Xiao Chen in the future. I know. Lu Shuangshuang thought, learn what? I won't be able to learn that either. After sitting down, Lu Shuangshuang scooped rice for her grandma. She was ready to feed her grandma by reflex, but Grandma Lu insisted on eating by herself. Let me try it myself. How many years has it been since I've held chopsticks and a spoon? I want to try it myself. Grandma Lu said firmly. You can try it. Her hand is the easiest to recover. Chopsticks and a spoon are also better for recovery, said Xiao Chen. Oh, okay. Lu Shuangshuang nodded, then carefully picked up the chopsticks and placed them in her grandma's hand. At first, when Grandma Lu picked up the chopsticks, they fell down. However, after trying a few times, she could hold them steadily. Although she couldn't pick up food, she could barely lift them. This made Lu Shuangshuang very happy. Xiao Chen picked up an empty bowl and filled the bowl with food for Grandma Lu. He placed it in front of her. This way, the distance was closer. Grandma Lu could take the food from the bowl, and it would be easier. Finally, after trying many times, Grandma Lu put a mouthful of food into her mouth. Lu Shuangshuang was so excited that she had tears in her eyes. Before this, she had never held any hope for her grandma's illness to be cured. She only hoped that her grandma could live smoothly, and that was already very happy. But now, Xiaochen helped her realize this dream that she only dared to dream of. Lu Shuangshuang felt that it was worth it even if Xiaochen did anything to her. Xiaochen, thank you. Lu Shuangshuang said sincerely. It's delicious. Shuangshuang, Xiaochen, you guys eat too. Don't worry about me. I'll eat by myself. I'm happy eating. Grandma Lu was also very excited. Who wanted to be a cripple and be served by others in bed every day? Lu Shuangshuang ate a mouthful of stew. She was also a little surprised. Xiaochen was really good at cooking. No wonder he went to the morning market to sell breakfast. She thought that a young master like him had never touched pots and pans before. Xiaochen, I realize that in the future, you will definitely make money when you open a restaurant. You can make the shabby things in my house so delicious. Lu Shuangshuang sighed. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.